You couldn't ask for a better weather day in Pittsburgh. It is absolutely gorgeous for a baseball game as we take you to PNC Park for the middle frame of this three-game weekend set between the Pirates and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Hi again, everyone, with Steve Blass. I'm Tim Neverett. Robbie Smikowski will join us in a little bit. Second Major League debut this week for a Pirates pitcher. Today, it's Brandon Compton.
Yeah, more auditions than the Beatles had in the early 60s. And you hope that he embraces this opportunity. Tim, he's coming up from AAA, started at AA. And you'd like to have him throw strikes, relax. He's got a great opportunity. He really doesn't have all that much to lose as the Pirates continue their search to solidify this rotation as much as they possibly can. It has been in disarray, and this could be a big step, big opportunity for number 58, Brandon Compton.
Pirates had to make room for him on the roster, so left-handed reliever Mike Zagurski was designated for assignment. Last night, a 3-0 shutout victory over the Dodgers in Game 1. Andrew McCutchen would get the Pirates all the runs they would need with this double.
Yep. Who else but Andrew? It's June, and it's Andrew McCutchen hitting the ball to the opposite field, sending a run home, sending another run home, and then running the bases. He is so much fun to watch on the base pass. First to third, he just turns it on. If he doesn't have that kind of speed, he's a dead duck at third base. Now, he gets an opportunity here on the foul ball. This is the perfect opportunity for anybody, but especially a guy with speed. First baseman's got his back to home plate. Andrew, that's like a walk in the park. Andrew McCutchen doing his thing in June, as he always does.
McCutchen and the Pirates hoping to do it again today. They'll have a tough foe to face on the mound. It is Clayton Kershaw. This is the third Cy Young winner the Pirates will face over the last 4 games. They've beaten the first 2. Can they do it again here this afternoon? Lineups and first pitch coming up on Root Sports.
Toyota. Now's the time to go places with Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com for special offers. And by PNC for the achiever in you. Let's go Bucks.
Still lined up and coming around the rotunda to get into PNC Park for the second game of this 3-game weekend series with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Expecting a capacity crowd here today. Brandon Compton getting set to make his first major league pitch. He began the year in AA Altoona, has been performing mostly in AAA with Indianapolis, and due to an injury to A.J. Burnett, he is here and taking the field for the first time as a major leaguer.
Yep, congratulations to Brandon Compton. He is going to be a major league baseball player. He's been thinking about this day. Well, who knows how long ago he started having this kind of dream. Out of Georgia Tech, nobody from Georgia Tech is scared. Never. I've never heard of anything like that. 4-4 AAA and 10 starts. His last 2 starts, excellent. 7 innings each. Just a couple of runs given up in each one of those starts.
Don Mattingly writes his lineup like this today for the Dodgers. Skip Schumacher will start in left field. Yasiel Puig has multiple hit efforts in 7 of his 11 career games. He has been a sensation for the Dodgers since coming up from AAA. Gonzalez and Ramirez. Then Ethier in center field. Mark Ellis at second base. Juan Uribe starts at third today. A.J. Ellis behind the plate. And Clayton Kershaw doing the pitching against Compton.
Yeah, we can talk a lot about Chevrolet because we already told you the numbers that he rang up in AAA. So here he is with that wonderful opportunity to win a Major League Baseball game. Let's hope he throws a lot of strikes, and this, again, will be a day he'll remember for a long time.
Well, Compton from Evans, Georgia, born in Augusta. And the defense behind Compton today will look like this in left field. Alex Presley starts again. Starling Marte still out with a sore rib cage on the left side. McCutchen and Brandon Inge making a start in right field. Alvarez and Mercer, along with Walker and Sanchez on the infield, and Russell Martin catching Brandon Compton.
Pedro Alvarez will give him the knuckleball over to start the ball game.
And Inge, a right-handed bat in the lineup against the lefty Kershaw. It's the second time this week that Clint Hurdle has inserted Inge in there. He started against Barry Zito of the Giants as well. And Don Mattingly, who had to serve a 1-game suspension last night, he is back calling the shots for the Dodgers. And we're underway. Brandon Compton's first major league pitch is a strike call to Skip Schumacher.
Now he can catch his breath. This actually should be a matchup for tomorrow because it's like David and Goliath with Compton against Kershaw.
And Skip Schumacher is appealing his suspension. Again, this all stems from that mess that happened in Arizona in the series just before the Dodgers came here. One of a couple of players who are suspended. Pitchers J.P. Howell and Ronald Belisario, the other two, also appealing those suspensions.
Don't they all?
Yeah. Mark McGuire, the hitting coach, sitting out again today. He'll finish up his suspension today. 1-2 pitch to Schumacher, the former Cardinal. Got him looking, strike through call.
Just like Garrett Cole started. Not the heat, but the backdoor breaking ball, like a little cut fastball or slider. We've heard that he has this pitch. See it start outside, come in, nip that outside corner.
AGH Camp slowing it down today. See the revolution of the ball coming out of the right hand.
Well, that's the way to start your major league career. Strike out the first guy you see.
Here's Puig. Right fielder chops it foul. Well, Garrett Cole now knows the feeling as he debuted against the Giants earlier in the week.
He can relate. So far, strikes. He's big enough. 6'2", 218 pounds. Want it inside, you get it outside. That'll happen.
One thing we expect out of Compton, we expect him to throw the ball inside. The reports on him from AAA are that he will pound the strike zone, but pound it in.
That's where they want it. And that's where they got it.
It's jammed. So Puig fouls it off, and it's 1-2.
Nice location when the catcher sets up inside there and you deliver it right where it's supposed to be. We've got the AGH camera down so slow that ball might stick to the bat.
Yeah, we have slowed it down for you today. 5,000 frames a second. 2-2 pitch. Got him. Puig strikes out.
Good to see your number 3 starter throwing the ball this well early in the ball game. big breaking ball that Puig can't lay off. And the bat has left the neighborhood by the time the ball gets there. Looks like a knuckleball, but again, we've slowed it down for you. Every pitch is going to look like a knuckleball.
First baseman Adrian Gonzalez. Pirates shifting for him and swinging a miss. Compton off to a very good start, striking out Schumacher, striking out Puig. 2 down, top of the first. Strike 2.
How are you liking this guy so far?
The juices have to be flowing right now for him. I mean, he has got to be on cloud 9 at this point in time. Living his dream right here. 0-2 to Adrian Gonzalez. Came in on him.
That's fine right there. The third fastball up and in. That'll get his attention, and let's see if he tries to nick that outside corner with a breaking ball again. It would be a bad selection here. You miss, you stay away from his power.
This one fouled off. 1-2. Clint Hurdle told him, just give us what you got. Give us 7 innings or what you got today. We'll worry about the rest. So
really nothing to lose. I mean, this is a free ride for this young man. See that pitch? Nicely done on the 1-2.
And what Clint Hurdle usually will tell a guy before he makes his big league debut is fear nothing but respect everything. So here's Brendan.
He's probably got that on a cassette tape by now with all the guys he's going to have to tell that to.
And strike 3. How about this debut for Brandon Compton? Began the year in Double-A. He strikes out the side in his first inning of work in the majors. For Compton, and first guy to get up the stairs was the last Pirate to make his debut, Garrett Cole. Pirates lineup is brought to you by Toyota. Alex Presley leads off, and Jordy Mercer back in there against the left-hander Kershaw. McCutchen, Sanchez, and Martin. Neil Walker, then Pedro Alvarez in the 7 spot this month, hitting .282 with 4 home runs and 9 runs batted in. He likes hitting in the day games too. Brandon Inge batting 8th, Compton batting 9th against former Cy Young winner Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, he's one of the best too. One of the best in the business. I just hope he's not intimidated by Brandon Compton.
Well, Kershaw won the Triple Crown in 2011, won the Cy Young there, and has had 3 straight seasons of 200 strikeouts or better. Already almost halfway there with 96. Facing Alex Presley. And the first pitch in for a strike. Kershaw doesn't fool around very much on the hill. Grab the ball and settle and then throw it.
Clayton Kershaw is 5-4, and that is a mystery why he is 5-4. They'll pitch in for a strike, 1.88 ERA. They're simply not scoring many runs for him. Just not scoring for him.
Compton probably replaying that first half inning in his head, which he probably will over and over again. There's one inside the bag down the line. Presley will turn first and hit for second base. Alex Presley is in with a leadoff double.
What a way to start a ball game. Your youngster strikes out the side in the top half of the inning, and your leadoff man doubles inside third base to get things going in the bottom of the first. Just a little slap shot inside the chalk. It's an easy trip for Alex to second base.
First double for Alex this season.
Well, we were talking about tips to win on the pregame show with Paul and Teak, and one of them was take advantage of any opportunity you have against one of the best, and Kershaw is one of the best. See if you can cash it in. Find a way to push him around. See if Mercer can hit the ball on the right side of the infield or better.
Jordy in there at shortstop today. Clint Hurdle has been having him in the lineup against left-handed pitchers predominantly. Farmas was the starter last night.
Kershaw with a very active fastball, a lot of movement. He's got a couple breaking balls, the downer, drop dead curveball, and the big sweeping side-to-side breaking pitch.
High stretch, check a second, and the pitch, and Mercer fouls it off. Pirates come into this game winners of 5 of their last 7 ball games. Meantime, the Dodgers have lost 5 of their last 6. And the Dodgers have struggled on the road this year. Since May 3rd, they're just 3-12.
They got 9 road wins. Only the Marlins have less. And this is a pretty high profile, high paid team.
There's the bunt. Mercer, a nice sacrifice bunt. Jay Ellis throws him out, and he gets Presley over to third base. So you get a man at third and 1 out.
And there's one happy batting coach in the Pirates dugout. He used to do a lot of this. Jay Bell, moving people around.
Just talking about the Dodgers at home, 19-20, 9-18 on the road. Batting average pretty similar home or road. Same for the runs scored, actually scoring a little bit more on the road than at home. And not too many home runs per game on average, less than 1. The earned run average higher on the road by a full run. Here is McCutchen. Good RBI opportunity with Presley at third.
And they'll play back, give the Bucks the run.
McCutchen hitting .350 at PNC Park this season.
They'll give the Pirates the run, but the Pirates are going to have to earn it against this quality left-hander. Pretty interesting matchup to watch right here. Kershaw, McCutchen.
It's inside. It's 2-0. McCutchen hitting .294 in his career against Kershaw. He is 5 out of 17 with a home run. Kershaw has struck him out twice. Presley off third, the 2-0. McCutchen will take ball 3.
Won't get involved in all the numbers for Kershaw, but he's ranked among National League leaders in ERA, opponent's batting average, strikeouts, innings pitched, and whip. The always mysterious whip.
Walks, hits per innings pitched. 3-0 coming. And that pitch outside, a 4-pitch walk, and the Pirates with 2 on in the bottom half of the first inning. Here's today's Barrel Automotive League leader stat, where Clayton Kershaw ranks in the National League. First in ERA, 5th in strikeouts, 2nd in opponent average, and 2nd in opponent OPS. Barrel Automotive, we're driven to be better.
See, I told you whip was mysterious. Didn't have it on there.
Somebody from the Chamber of Commerce should take a picture today for a brochure. It's one of those days.
And last night was perfect, but then in the afternoon, Major League Baseball in the afternoon in this setting, forget about it.
Gabby Sanchez takes a strike on the inside edge of the plate. Says home plate umpire Alan Porter. Sanchez had a pinch hit appearance. Actually came in for defense and got in that bat late in the game last night. Went 1 for 1. And Sanchez involved in the play where McCutchen scored from third on Neil Walker's sacrifice fly. Foul ball down the right side. And McCutchen raised his arms up at third base, letting Gabby know he was going to run. And that's a play they put in. Rick Sofield, the first base coach, had put that in spring training so that the runner from first would know to run automatically. They can't throw to 2 bases at the same time. So Sanchez got himself into scoring position by tagging up and going from first to second on that ball hit to Adrian Gonzalez. A very smart play. Good base run.
Good stuff.
0-2 to Gabby. Runners at the corners. Clayton Kershaw ready. Goes to first and McCutchen back.
Clayton Kershaw. It sounds like a name from a guy that grew up in the mountains of Tennessee or North Carolina. But he's a Dallas guy. Just 25. It seems like he's been around a long time. Should be older than that. But he came out of the blocks when he arrived at the major league scene. He hadn't looked back.
Inside to Sanchez. It's 1-2.
Look at that. That's almost as stunning as last night. That shot of the fountain last night was maybe as pretty as any scene I've ever seen in Pittsburgh. And this is not far behind. It's just a pretty day to look at Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Lots of shots today from up above. Gabby lays off it. Did he go? No. Mike Estabrook, the umpire at first.
And A.J. Ellis wants to know why.
Let's slow it way down.
How far is the bat going to go?
Look at the shadow in relation to the front edge of home plate.
They had a chance to get that call, legitimate chance, and Alan Porter's hearing about it.
Some barking from the Dodger bench.
So is Estabrook at first base on the appeal. And Porter said that's enough. Well, these Dodgers are a feisty bunch.
Yeah, they've been involved in a lot of controversy lately and probably don't want to have some for a while. But
I'd have hollered at that call. I mean, not that you're going to get it, but I would have barked a little bit.
Here's Kershaw's 2-2. And Gabby hammers it foul. Alan Porter calling the balls and strikes. Mike Estabrook at first. Crew chief Greg Gibson is at second base, and at third, Hunter Wendelstedt.
I guess the Dodgers have already identified Alan Porter.
2 on, 1 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now they count full. Well, you'd expect to see McCutchen running with this pitch, 1 out and a full count. To make sure Kershaw is coming to the plate, however.
Oh boy. Inside, inside, inside.
Straight line, up and down. Here comes the payoff. There goes McCutchen. Gabby Sanchez has walked. 2 straight walks by Kershaw. And the bases are full of bucks in the bottom of the first.
For a former Dodger. We also talked in the pregame show about taking advantage of every opportunity. Well, here you go. First inning. What do they say about the good ones? Get them early, because if you don't get them early, sometimes you don't get them at all. This is it. This is a half inning that both clubs are going to look back at, regardless of which way it goes.
Russell Martin came up with the Dodgers. Seven homers this season. Bases loaded, 1 out. Martin takes a strike.
Kershaw started out Jim, he started out the inning at 92, 93. That one 94, so he's stretching it out. And he knows, he's been around long enough, he could really use a strikeout here. That would set up the opportunity to get out of it. The Pirates need to avoid that for sure.
toward the middle. It'll end up being 2. No! Ramirez throws it away. Presley scores, and McCutchen has to hold at third base.
And Gabby Sanchez destroyed Ramirez. I'm sorry. Yes, destroyed Ramirez. He came across second base. Wanted to take the play himself and looked like the right decision to make. Wow.
Sanchez getting high fives in the dugout. What a takeout slide here by Sanchez that forced the bad throw on a room service double play ball for Hanley Ramirez.
Well, actually, you know what? When we look at that, he turned that loose before Gabby got there. So, yeah, Gabby maybe got his attention, but he caught a flyer before Sanchez arrived. After that, it was a tumbler.
So the Buccos strike first this afternoon. So the error on Ramirez allows Martin to reach. Well, a strike is called to Neil Walker. They're scoring at a fielder's choice and an E6, allowing the batter to get to first and crediting an RBI to Russell Martin.
Which looked like an ending double play.
That's the word from the official score on that play. 0-1. And that's in for a strike. 0-2 to Neal. When the Pirates score first this year, they're 25-11. Scored first in last night's game and went on to win that 3-0.
Puts them about where they are overall record-wise. 13 or 14 over 500, both categories.
0-2. We'll wait, and the throw to first. I'll tell you what, Hanley Ramirez couldn't have had an easier double play ball. The official score has just corrected himself on that and said no RBI. So Martin does not get credit for that. Didn't think he would. Down to second base goes Russell Martin, and Martin has a stolen base.
Uncontested.
Figured they weren't paying attention to me, so why not go? Third stolen base. He's 3 for 3 in steals.
Almost a delay steal. And apparently nobody home at second base. Looked like Ellis was ready to throw the ball. Didn't break early. They get careless, you take advantage.
1-2 to Walker. Neal looks at one up high.
And one thing about this bottom of the first, not only are you on the board, still have a chance to get more, but Kershaw is laboring, throwing a lot of pitches. He throws a lot of pitches. He's thrown as many as 130.
Two to Walker. 2 men out, 2 on. And Walker strikes out. Have to throw it down there to finish it off. 2-3 goes the put out. Pirates get a run on 1 hit, 2 left. 1-0 after 1. Major League debut today. Time for the whiff, brought to you by Head and Shoulders, now with Old Spice.
How about this debut? First batter strikeout, second batter strikeout, third batter strikeout. 3 up, 3 down, 3 Ks. When you first step onto a major league mound in a serious fashion. How good is that?
And this season for Compton in the minor leagues, his season high in strikeouts 8, so 5 more to catch that. Robbie Roland Smith, one of his minor league teammates, says, sorry about it. Brandon Compton, how's that for your first major league inning?
What's he sorry about? Good to hear from your teammates, always.
Not sorry about that view. How about that?
Well, keep it going. Have some fun out there.
Hanley Ramirez. He takes a strike.
He is filling up the zone. He hasn't. I don't think he's missed the strike zone with more than 1 or 2 or 3 pitches in the first inning.
For one just missed. But does a team have an advantage, or does a pitcher per se have an advantage when he's never pitched in the big leagues before? He wasn't on the team's 40-man roster. There's not a lot of information out there as much as there would be on a major league pitcher, or even perhaps an established AAA pitcher. When a team like the Dodgers, say, has never seen him before, does he have any advantage, at least for a little while in the game?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Pitcher always has the advantage because he acts, the batter reacts. And they don't know much about him. And they've got to see what they can do when he turns the ball loose. He's absolutely got an advantage, primarily because he's a pitcher and they've never seen him, so that doubles down for him.
Ramirez chops that one off a foot. And more of Compton's teammates checking in. This is from his battery mate in Indianapolis, Tony Sanchez. Tony 26 Montana is his Twitter handle. Straight out of Compton. Hashtag rivals Cole 45. Garrett Cole in his impressive debut. 1-2 pitch. Did he get him? Yes, he did. And Brandon Compton has struck out the first 4 men he has faced. And some pretty good players, too. You're talking about perennial all-star type players like Gonzalez and Ramirez, and now Ethier on the way.
And that's the second Dodger who's got to chase that breaking ball, that bad breaking ball, until they swing at it or try to hold up and can't. It becomes a very good breaking ball out of the zone. There's nothing they can do. They cannot get the bat out there far enough to hit it, and they swing at it. It's good. And another strike. Loving the strikes. Loving the strikes. So I have it right. Brandon drafted in the 9th round 3 years ago. It's 2010.
Yeah, 2010. Compton is the first member of the Pirates 2010 draft class to make it to the major league. Defensively, the Pirates have 3 infielders on the right for the left-handed hitting outfielder Andre Ethier. 2 balls and a strike. Ethier had a hit in 3 trips to the plate last night. Playing center field in the absence of the injured Matt Kemp.
Right now he doesn't have. They really need any infielders like Eddie Feigner, the king in his court. Just go out there and pitch.
Strike 2, foul ball.
They haven't put it in play yet. That's the way the king used to do it.
Yeah, but the king also used a fake ball. He had a catcher would hold on to a ball. Finger would throw a pitch behind his back, slap his glove. The catcher would take the ball, put it in his glove, and they'd run off. That was the 3rd out. To left field it goes. Presley. They'll corral it for out number 2.
They're getting to him now.
What a day to have our friends up in the sky today. Aerial coverage provided by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you've got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
You got the Armada out there in the river. The Allegheny Armada.
And for a lot of Compton's teammates in the minor leagues who are watching today around the country, they see that shot and they're probably all saying to themselves, That's where I'm going to play. I got to get there.
It is so neat when you come up through the minor leagues as a teammate and you see you want to make it yourself absolutely priority one. When you see one of your buddies make it, that is special also. It really is special because you go through a lot of stuff in the minor leagues. And, as you make those travels with and those trips with and face those challenges with, you're buddies. You're more than buddies.
Strikes out Mark Ellis. 5 strikeouts. Turn it over. There you go. $35. All kids and dads take home a replica Sunday alternate cap thanks to Trip Total Media. Come early for the #1 Cochran Family Fun Zone on Federal Street. Stay after. Kids get to run the bases. Spend your Father's Day right here at PNC Park. Go to Pirates.com for tickets. Well, Steve, you like that hat? That was your hat. Early 70s. Here's Alvarez leading off. Takes the ball up high. One thing we've seen out of Clayton Kershaw so far, Steve, is when he's missed up high.
Yep. And the power guys will do that, and he's definitely a power guy. Other than those guys in that elite category, you always want to keep the ball down. If you miss, you'd rather miss downstairs, but he's in a different category. But his 4 losses, he's 5-4. Swing and miss. They've only given him 7 runs of support, and 5-4 is not the record you would expect with an ERA under 2.
1-2 is Pedro Alvarez. Puts this one in the air to center field, and Ethier there. 1 out. First run support, lowest in the National League. Ricky Nolasco, Miami on top of that list. Clayton Kershaw, as good a pitcher as he is, getting fewer than 3 runs of support a game. And that can hurt you because you can throw, as you well know, Steve, and anybody who knows anything about pitching knows, you can pitch as well as you can, but if your team doesn't score any runs for you, it's going to make it that much more difficult to win. That's probably contributing certainly to his 4 losses.
Can't win without a little offense.
Compton on deck.
We just need to get some people on base for him. With the way his day is going, he's going to hit it over the fence.
Well, Garrett Cole had a base hit in his first major league plate appearance, so
2 RBIs to go with it.
Yeah. And Inge hits this one well to center field. Still going back is Ethier on the track, makes the catch. Inge put a charge into it, but ballpark held it. 2 down.
This young man should get a nice round of applause right now as he's announced.
Pitcher, number 58, Brandon Compton.
Instant fan base. Deservedly so.
Well, when you strike out 5 of the first 6 guys you face in a major league game, you're going to have folks remember your name. Brandon Compton. And who does he face? Cy Young Award winner Clayton Kershaw. He can tell everybody he got a piece of it.
See that what he did right there? My first start against Don Drysdale, I fouled a ball off. I called home after the game. I made contact.
Hey, guess what?
It's worth a call.
0-2 coming to Compton. Took it high.
Well, you made a good point. The 2 fly balls to center field, pitches upstairs.
The Compton family watching with great interest today.
Great enjoyment so far.
Mom Jolene, his dad Ron, very proud parents today. Puts it in play to the right side.
There you go.
Gonzalez will step on the bag. A 1-2-3 second. Brandon Compton and the Pirates move on to the top of the 3rd inning, leading 1-0.
On Root Sports is brought to you by Barrel Automotive. We're driven to be better. And by Levin Furniture and the all-new Levin Mattress Stores. For a great deal on a new bed, shop Levin's. Let's go Bucks.
1-0. Pirates with the lead over the Dodgers. Going to the top of the 3rd inning with Robbie Inchmakowski and Steve Blass. I'm Tim Neverett. It's one of the great scenes around PNC Park. The Pirate Armada is out today. Lots of boats on the Allegheny River. Lots of kids here in this afternoon game.
All pirate ships.
Great walk up here. Looks like pushing another sellout. Be back to back if so.
Well, and if it is, it'll be followed automatically by one tomorrow when Mr. Cole takes the mound again.
Brandon Compton begins his 3rd inning of work. He has retired the first 6 Dodgers, striking out 5 of them. He'll face Juan Uribe, A.J. Ellis, and then Clayton Kershaw.
And a former Dodger did something similar to that when James McDonald came to the Pirates. He had a very impressive strikeout debut with the Bucks.
It was a game against the Colorado Rockies. 1-0 pitch. 1-1. The official scorer made another correction, by the way, on the run scoring play for the Pirates. because you can't assume a double play, which you can't. They've taken the error away from Hanley Ramirez and given the RBI back to Russell Martin. Up in the air to shallow center. Walker calling for it. Mercer calls him off. He makes the catch. One down. Pirates and Dodgers will finish up this 3-game series tomorrow afternoon, and you do not want to miss it, as Garrett Cole be making his second major league start. The #1 overall pick in 2011 was electrifying in his debut against the Giants Tuesday night, and you'll get a chance to see what he can do against the Dodgers right here on Root Sports. Our coverage begins at 1 p.m. with Pirates pregame. Don't miss it tomorrow. Cole 45. Ellis to left field. A.J. Ellis, first ball swinging, makes a quick out. 2 down for the Dodgers in the third. And Compton says, that's okay. Take that.
Still impressed with the strike throwing so far.
Two outs, bases empty. Here's Kershaw. Kershaw's got a .219 average and a home run this year.
Didn't he do that 1-0 hit your own home run? Is that when he got the home run?
Do it yourself game. 2 balls and no strikes to Kershaw. And now it's 3-0. So tears through the position players and then faces the pitcher and goes 3-0.
Keep your feet on the ground, young man.
And he fires a strike right in there. Kershaw taking all the way, 3-1.
Sometimes you can get a little ahead of yourself. You get on a roll and okay, all right, let's not get too far out over your own skis.
And that misses outside, and the Dodgers with their first base runner. A walk to the pitcher, Clayton Kershaw. This will bring up the left fielder Skip Schumacher for his second at bat. Compton's last outing for AAA Indianapolis was on the 10th of June against the Norfolk Tides. And he took a loss in that game, went 7 innings, gave up 2 earned runs on 9 hits. He had given up 2 earned runs or fewer in 7 of his last 9 starts in AAA. Schumacher takes on the inside corner. It's 1-1.
And you're kind of looking for the hot arm. The Pirates with this emergency stuff with the rotation. You're looking who has been good most recently. And the start you talked about against Norfolk followed a good start against Durham.
Ground ball to first, backhanded by Sanchez. He'll take it himself. That takes care of the Dodgers in the top half of the 3rd inning. The family really liking it.
Rodgers and Brandon Compton's big league debut. I'm Robbie and Smikowski hanging out with Brandon Compton's family right here. This is his mother, Jolene, his father, Ron, and his high school coach behind us. We'll talk to them in a moment. But Jolene, you guys got very little sleep. You woke up at 5 o'clock this morning and flew in here to watch your son's big league debut. What was your reaction when you got the call from Brandon saying that he was coming to the Pirates?
I was so excited for him. I started crying, and I just couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it. I thought he was joking at first, and he's like, "No, Mom, I'm going to Pittsburgh." I said, "What for?" And he said, "To pitch." And I still was trying to catch on. He said, "I'm pitching Saturday." I'm like, "Really?" And then he's like, "Yes, Mom, I've been called up." I said, "Oh my God, it's so awesome. This is something you've dreamed about, we've dreamed about, and it's just an awesome experience."
And we're glad to see you expressing that emotion right now. We'll talk to Father Ron here. With your son, when you look at the start that he's had, he's only walked Clayton Kershaw, the only base runner he's seen. Has this even surprised you to this point?
Yeah, a little bit. Now he's got it. He can do it. I've seen him do it. But, I blame it on the umpire.
Well, we're going to step back here to the row behind us. Ed Williams is the head baseball coach at Greenbrier High School in Augusta, Georgia. Ed, when you had him in high school, what qualities did he possess that made you think he could someday pitch in the big leagues?
He had all the qualities. He worked hard. He had the God-given talent, and he was a hard worker and just did everything that you asked of him, and just a great kid, overall great kid. So the community's excited. Of course, parents and everyone, it's just exciting right now.
Well, congratulations to all of you, Mom. How are the nerves? You doing okay so far?
Doing much better now that we're through the first inning
and to the fourth now.
Yeah, so I'm settled down a little bit.
Well, enjoy the rest of the day. Thanks for your time.
Very much. Thank
you.
you.
Tim, a very happy family. About 10 people made the trip here from Georgia to watch Brandon Compton, and so far they have not disappointed one bit.
That is great. That is great. It's, his mom's reaction to his statement, "I'm going to Pittsburgh." She says, "For what?"
Well, there's nothing better than a mom and dad watching their kids succeed. There's just nothing like it. Nothing like it.
Jolene has settled down, and so has her son. He has faced one over the minimum through 3. Walking Kershaw. 5 strikeouts so far for Compton. 2-2 to Alex Presley. On ball to the right side. Mark Ellis, one of the more sure-gloved second baseman in baseball, makes the play. And there is one gone for the Pirates in the bottom half of the 3rd inning. Well, Presley doubled and scored the only run of the game. Makes the first out here in the 3rd. Jordy Mercer will step in. Jordy didn't play last night, but did start 2 of the 3 games against the Giants. On Wednesday night went 3 for 5 with 2 runs scored against San Francisco. You gotta like him up there with runners on base, because so far this season he's hitting .440 with men on. Nobody on here, but he does have runners on in front of him. Seems to deliver more often than not. Into the seats for strike 2. Over his last 5 games, hitting .333, 6 for 18.
Different angle to look at this gorgeous ballpark. Right across the river, they've got the Three Rivers Arts Festival going on. So a lot of stuff in town on a gorgeous Saturday afternoon. And they're delighted over there, by the way, because usually they see a lot of rain during the Arts Festival. But they couldn't ask for anything more today. Spectacular over near the point. We'll look at that a little later on if we can. A lot of stuff going on in Pittsburgh today, and a gorgeous day.
Full count to Jordy Mercer. Up on the rotunda. You know, if they're lined up there, it's a big, big crowd. Back on the PNC Park from behind the left field pole.
Take that, Dodger blue. How about that blue?
3-2 to Mercer. Ball 4.
3rd walk.
The Pirates with a base runner and 1 out. On our next Sunday Night Classics, Mario Lemieux and Jaromir Jagr lead a furious comeback as the Pens defeat the Blackhawks in Game 1 of the 1992 Stanley Cup Finals. Here are exclusive interviews from Ron Francis, Larry Murphy, Scotty Bowman, Troy Loney, Sean McEachern, and Yuri Hrdina. While you relive this memorable game, Sunday Night Classics, Pens come back at the Igloos tomorrow night at 8 on Root Sports. Blackhawks and Bruins in Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals tonight. McCutcheon puts this one toward right center field. Circling behind it is Puig, and he cuts off the center fielder Ethier. Well, he made the catch, and usually that's the center fielder's priority if he's there and has the call on it, but Puig cut him off. And I don't know if Ethier is too happy about that.
That could have been a disaster collision. And then the grandstand throw into the infield.
One of the reports about Yasiel Puig is the fact that his baseball etiquette has not necessarily been 100%. Since he defected from Cuba, and it has caused angst at some point during the minor league times for him, and sometimes causes angst with players who play next to him in the field.
Yeah, but you know what? They play for LA. It's, you know,
Showtime,
Hollywood.
Gabby takes low. That's the area you wanted to see, Steve. The point.
Yep. Yeah, you see people kind of in back of the buildings in that first section. Yep. A lot of booths around in underneath of the Wyndham Hotel. Oh yeah. Yep. There we got it. Great stuff.
Better guys in the game right there. Clayton Kershaw, since 1920, has the lowest all-time career ERA among pitchers with 1,000 or more innings pitched and 100 or more starts. Sanchez a base hit. Mercer will turn second and head for third. And with 2 outs, the Pirates have runners at the corners. Sanchez continues to swing a good bat. AGH cam slowing it way down. And back at real speed.
Be tough on pitchers if the batters had all that much time to see the pitch coming in. Especially when you slow it down that much. Every pitch on the gun is about what, 6-7 miles an hour at the most.
So Martin got credit for a fielder's choice and an RBI scoring Alex Presley, even though Hanley Ramirez, who caught the ground ball, stepped on second for the force out, threw the ball away. He airmailed it to Gonzalez because you can't assume a double play. No error on the play, and an RBI given to Martin.
Look at the torque on the elbow. You wonder what happens when a pitcher lets go of a baseball, and you wonder why guys are on the disabled list with elbow problems. You can't see much of the shoulder because that's underneath the shirt so many times, but there are things that happen to your elbow when you turn a baseball loose.
In the air to right field, Puig back, and he will make the catch. Heading to the fourth, 1-0 Pirates. The Arts Festival continuing across the river. The ATH cam on super slow motion today. How neat is that?
That's a lot of leather capturing that baseball.
You recognize that guy? Michael Anthony, formerly from Van Halen.
All right.
Now with Chickenfoot, he's here at the ballpark today. Yeah, he's trying the Zoltan. I don't know if the Dodger fans like that next to him.
Yeah.
But you never know who's going to show up here at PNC Park. We're glad the guys with the DirecTV blimp did. See the shadow on top of the convention center.
It's a unique top of a building. David L. Lawrence Convention Center.
That is where Pirate Fest is held around the Christmas season.
And there's an occasional bridge across an occasional river in Allegheny County.
Brandon Compton starting his 4th inning of work. He'll face Puig. He delivers ball 1 high. Yasiel Puig defected from the Cuban national team. Lines one into left field, a base hit. And Puig had tried to defect reportedly a couple of different times and was unsuccessful. And the Cuban national team suspended him, which only gave him more incentive to want to defect. Out on this front foot on this one, Stu.
First knock. Let's see how he handles this situation going down through the middle of the Dodger batting order. Gonzalez, Ramirez, Ethier, very legitimate major league hitters. A challenge for Compton here in the 4th as Clayton Kershaw has tightened things up. You don't expect to get a lot of action offensively against him.
Puig, who has hit in 3 straight games, gets back to first. Only 1 hit given up so far by Compton. And a strike, late strike call by Alan Porter. Puig back. Porter started early, having to tell the Dodger bench to quiet down in earlier innings. One ball and 1 strike. And Gonzalez, when he struck out in the first, foul tipped the ball into the glove of Russell Martin. Go to first and Puig gets back. It was pretty close.
Casual return to first base. I was looking at that pitch that Gonzalez struck out on. To the naked eye, I thought it was another fastball up and away. It was not a great slider, 86 miles an hour, but Gonzalez took a swing at it, chased a bad pitch.
There goes Puig, and the ball driven to left field. Presley has a beat on it. He'll make the catch, and Puig has to retreat to first.
And that's a good thing because Puig had a tremendous jump.
Puig is a very good prospect, an excellent prospect, certainly. And again, you got to remember, a guy who's been an MVP candidate and Matt Kemp is still on the disabled list. So when Kemp comes back, it's going to be hard for the Dodgers to not put Andre Ethier back in right field. But if Puig continues to produce, they're going to have to find a spot for him.
The struggling Dodger team, yeah, they're looking for some answers and they're looking for help in any direction.
Another outfielder, Scott Van Slyke, the son of Andy Van Slyke, also on the disabled list. He'd been playing some left field for the Dodgers. And Ramirez takes ball 1. 47 pitches for Compton.
Nothing alarming about that.
Well, Compton making a spot start today. Pirates had to make a roster move to get him on the 40-man roster. They designated left-handed reliever Mike Zagorski for assignment earlier today. So that cleared the roster spot for Compton to be added. And when he arrived yesterday, he was on the taxi squad. That's the thing this year where you can bring a guy in, he can go through the workouts, but he can't be in the dugout in uniform during the game. And then you have until 3 hours before the next game to make a move with him. I know that catcher Tony Sanchez was part of a taxi squad situation when we were in New York. Ground ball to third. Pedro with a great stop. Throw to second. Hey, got him!
Pedro Alvarez with a gem. And Brandon Compton has never seen that play made in his professional career. A shot that Pedro flagged down and threw with a quick release back to second base across the body as his body was still moving toward the stands.
El Toro throwing the leather around. Look at this in slow-mo. On the AGH cam. Look at the shadow of the ball. You see the ball just creeping toward the glove of Pedro. The shadow on the clay. Now he just got the end of the webbing on it. Wow. Well, it's cliche, but that's a big league play. 2 down and Ethier at the plate.
1-0 ball game. It's a monster play. You don't know if you're going to get anything else against Clayton Kershaw. And that is a strong arm. Everything about his body is going away from where he's trying to throw. His body's going over toward the tarp.
Strike call to Ethier. Defensively, the Pirates shifting. They've got Sanchez holding the runner at first, and then Mercer and Walker on the right side with Alvarez alone on the left. Ethier fly to left field his first time up. And this one up the middle for a base hit.
The rocket Compton fortunate to get out of the way of that shot.
Well, he can describe what that ball sounded like on the way by.
Live to pitch another day.
You see Pedro directing Compton over to third base because the Pirates in the shift got caught in the San Francisco series. The base runner advanced on him. So Pedro was pointing over there saying you got to get over there and cover the bag, so runner at second base Ramirez wouldn't move up.
A challenge exists here in the top of the fourth. 1-0 game, 2 outs. Young man looking for a big out.
Tying run in scoring position. Ellis takes strike one. Mark Ellis struck out looking in the second inning.
Good fastball delivered down and in. Tough pitch for a right-hander to hit. We've heard that this young man has no concerns about coming inside the right-hand batters.
And a bouncer towards short. Mercer goes the short way. Dodgers are done in the fourth. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left through 3.5. 1-0 Buccos. Pitching staff's been bitten by the injury bug this month. Genmar Gomez, Wandy Rodriguez, each going on the DL. Forearm tightness there. Jared Hughes down with the right shoulder issue. Says it's getting better. And A.J. Burnett has a grade 1 tear of his right calf. He's in a walking boot right now. Injury update brought to you by Allegheny Sports Medicine, official medical provider of the Pirates. 1-0 Bucks. And the first pitch of the bottom of the fourth is skied to right by Neil Walker. Puig makes the catch. And there is one away.
And Kershaw has made a couple pitches when he's needed to with runners on base for the Pirates. The Pirates stranded 2 in the first, 2 more in the third. And again, you want to max these opportunities out, but it's not automatic against a guy of this caliber. But they've had their chances.
Guys on the bench there, Wandy Rodriguez in the foreground. Starling Marte next to him. He's got a left rib issue right now. It's kept him out of action for 3 straight games. And as far as Marte goes, if he can't go for the Cincinnati series, Clint Hurdle said they'll consider a DL move at that point. But right now, just resting. Back at you.
Look at that elbow. Comes through. There's ligaments and tendons and bottle caps and razor blades in that elbow. All kind of connective tissue that is strained. They've done stop action photographs. When they stop it, you see things standing out that you really didn't know were in there.
Like bottle caps and razor blades.
Yep.
I didn't know they were in there.
There's a little kind of a groove in between those 2 bones in your elbow. And a lot of stuff going on in there. Especially with a slider. It's a violent turn at the end, at the release point, which really puts a strain.
You threw an awful lot of sliders, didn't you?
Yes. Yes.
Never had any arm trouble either.
Nope. Got lucky. That's an accident of birth. Just how you're wired in that area, in that elbow area. You're just lucky. A lot of good fortune.
Pedro fly to center field in the second inning. 2-2 pitch from Kershaw. Got him swinging. 2 men out.
Ted Williams said the slider, in his opinion, was one of the pitches that changed the game of baseball, because thrown effectively in the right location, very difficult for a hitter to deal with. But if it's a mistake in location, as you watch Kershaw strike Pedro out, he said a lot of the sliders are hit further than any other pitch.
Brandon Inge hit the ball hard and deep to center, but the ballpark held it in the second inning. Ethier tracked it down on the warning track. For 1 today, playing right field, the utility man Brandon Inge.
Kind of unusual in that Kershaw has only recorded 2 strikeouts so far. He is a strikeout machine.
Came into the game with 96 of them. Also considering the fact he's got more walks than strikeouts in a game. You don't normally see that. 3 walks today. What a year he had in 2011, winning the Triple Crown.
That's average ERA, strikeouts, and wins.
And the Cy Young Award. And missed the strikeout title, at least a share of it last year, by 1 strikeout. And he's got that one back right here as he strikes out Brandon Inge looking. Pirates gone in order in the 4th.
Brought to you by Day Automotive. We're going to make your day. Let's go, Bucks.
Here is our Day Automotive, this day in Pirates history. This date, 1971, Roberto Clemente makes a spectacular 8th-inning catch, robbing the Astros' Bob Watson of a home run and preserving a 1-0 lead for the Pirates. In his effort, he suffered a bruised left ankle and left elbow and also received a cut on his knee. He also made a great skidding shoestring catch of Cesar Cedeno's soft hit ball just the play before. Now, the Houston crowd gave Clemente a standing ovation, but nobody was more appreciative than the man to my right, Steve Blass, who finished off the complete game shutout for his 7th win of the season. Thanks to Day Automotive. We're going to make your day. Remember that game?
I do. What a treat it is to remember Roberto Clemente in back of you in right field. Maz at second, Stargell at first, Clemente in right, 3 Hall of Famers. That's a pretty good trio to pitch in front of.
Uribe, first pitch, ground ball to second. Walker throws him out. 1 pitch, 1 gone for the Dodgers in the 5th.
And then you talk about those Hall of Famers, and Bob Robertson, one of the most underrated defensive first basemen I've ever seen. And then you got Gene Alley at short, Richie Hebner when Richie was paying attention, a terrific third baseman.
You mean he didn't pay attention sometimes?
Well, you know, Richie was single, and there's a lot of pretty ladies in the stands and all that stuff. But that was a treat to pitch in front of those guys. It really was. So when Willie wasn't there as a Hall of Famer, Robertson was, and Willie Stargell, who had one of the strongest arms I've ever seen from left fielder, when he came up as a left fielder at Forbes Field, which was 365 down to the left field corner, he had a gun to second base. So it was one heck of a group.
A.J. Ellis takes a strike. It's 1-1 to the Dodgers catcher. I guess saw Bob Robertson earlier in the week at the Sporting Clays Invitational in Seven Springs. He was there.
Robbie could pick it at first base.
And a base hit to the opposite field by A.J. Ellis. Talking about 1971, how about this information about the Pirates' start this year? The best record through 67 games over the last 70 seasons belongs to the 71 Pirates. They went on to win the World Series. 72 won the National League East. 91, 40-27, where the Pirates are right now. They won the East. Where will the Pirates finish? 39-28. The Pirates passing the current edition of the Pirates, passing the 75 edition. In terms of better record, 13 games over 500 here on the 15th of June.
And that 72 club did not go to the World Series because of the wild pitch that Bob Mooster. People still remember the Sid Bream slide across home plate as being a devastating end to a season. Well, 72, the same thing when it ended that abruptly. Just as heart-wrenching as the Bream score.
I also saw Sid on Monday. Yes, I did. As you did you.
Well, I saw him also. Kershaw is going to talk to his third base coach, Tim Wall. I was at a golf outing, and at the dinner after a few refreshments, I made Sid Bream get down on the floor, and I tagged him out in front of 400 people. I tagged him out. I said, get down on the floor. I got a baseball, tagged him out, and it was official. We finally did get him out.
Kershaw trying to sacrifice A.J. Ellis over. Now he pulled the bat back and he swings and misses. Strike 2. Well, that left side wide open with Pedro Alvarez charging and more than halfway down the line. Kershaw trying to go that way. So Ellis off of first. 1 man out. Kershaw gets the bunt down. Kind of firm, but right to Sanchez with Walker covering. 2 men out. Sacrifice bunt. And put out goes 3-4, and over to second base goes Ellis.
So you got him out. It cost you 90 feet. That's a situation where, yeah, you got the out. You would have liked to strike him out. It's a 1-0 game. You don't want anybody in scoring position because, again, Kershaw is being Kershaw out on the mound. So he really helped himself out and gave the Dodgers an opportunity to tie this ball game up. You'd rather have the runner at first base.
2 outs, tying runs in scoring position for Skip Schumacher. Fouls it off for strike one. Schumacher 0 for 2.
Talking about Roberto Clemente, we were taught as minor league pitchers to get in the habit of a base hit to right field, go between first and home, because if you ever got to the big leagues, Clemente would throw in back of people when they rounded first on a base hit, and you were required to be over there to back up in case his throw got away. And we were told emphatically. He said, "What do you mean we want to go between first and home?" They said, well, kid, if you're ever lucky enough to get to the big leagues, you'll have to cover that area." There's some Clemente memories, and the legacy lives on. It does. Every year there's a movie made, or a street named after him, or a school named after him. It just goes on and on.
Strike 2 to Schumacher. There's a bridge over there.
There's a bridge named after him. And if you get a chance as a group, you have to do it by appointment. Go visit the Clemente Museum.
Yes. It is spectacular. And the bridge closest to the ballpark, that is the Clemente Bridge. 1-2 to Schumacher. Compton's pitch. Fouled off. And at this point in the game, how is Compton feeling now that he is into the 5th inning? Settled down some?
Well, he's got a good tired going on. I don't want to say he's out of gas, but now, you know, the nerves are gone, I'm sure, to a substantial degree. And he's out there, he's laboring. He's probably not thinking about the nerves as much now. He's knee deep into a ball game.
That's to right field, a base hit. They're going to send A.J. Ellis. Inge's throw. Could have been cut off, should have been cut off. Ellis was going to score. And now it's a 1-1 ball game. Ball skipped under the glove of Gabby Sanchez. They would have had Schumacher dead to rights at second base to end the inning.
Base hit, ball down over the middle of the plate. He gets the lift over the head of Neil Walker. And the race is on. The throw is not going to get him at home plate. If the ball is cut off before it gets to Russell Martin, then you got a shot. He either doesn't go or you get him dead to rights at second.
Puig fouls it back. So Schumacher drives in the Dodgers' first run of this series. Last night, the Dodgers were shut out by the Bucks 3-0. Pirates with their major league leading 11th shutout of the season. Jeff Locke was spectacular. 7 innings, 5 strikeouts, just 2 hits. Puig to right, and Inge finds it in the shadow of the lights. So a run comes in for the Dodgers. 2 hits, tied at 1 after 4.5. That'll go in the photo album for sure. 1-1 is the score. The Dodgers and the Pirates heading to the bottom of the 5th. As the pitcher Compton at the plate. He grounded out to first his first time up. That is 0 for 1.
Now you put the ball in play.
And he puts it in play again. Ground ball to short. Ramirez checks the label and throws over to first and gets Compton. Before, during, and after every Pirates home game, you can stop by the Rivertown Brewing Hall of Fame Club. It's open to all fans. All you need is a game ticket. Grab a bite to eat or enjoy drink specials after the game. It's all at the Rivertown Brewing Hall of Fame Club. Join us next time you're at the ballpark. Also, you can book it for special events as well. Maybe a wedding. No, you're not going to throw her overboard, are you?
Well, that's an option.
All right, boys on 3. Alex Presley takes low. 1 ball and no strikes.
That's what you call taking the plunge.
These ones popped up and that'll make the seats. Yeah, they'd have a memory for sure, wouldn't they? Wedding day memory. Is Root Sports doing the official wedding video or what? Just wondering. There's a 1-1 pitch. Now it's 1-2.
What if you had to call the River Patrol on that? We got a floater.
Kershaw, 1 ball, 2 strikes on Presley. And looks at a pitch off the plate, 2-2. A good ball game here this afternoon. 15th of June, midway through the month of June. Pirates will wrap up this homestand tomorrow with the final game of this series. Zach Greinke will pitch for the Dodgers against Garrett Cole. Cole makes his 2nd major league start. 1:35 the first pitch. 1 o'clock for our pregame coverage here. And then a long road trip coming up, Steve. Means a little extra time off for you.
Well, I'll be able to catch up with my life.
4 games in Cincinnati. What a crucial series that will be during the month of June. Big series for the Pirates and the Reds coming up. And then it's interleague play again next weekend in Anaheim to take on the Angels. And then after that, 2 games up north in Seattle.
And I think you're going to find out a lot about the Pittsburgh Pirates season in the next 10 days to 2 weeks and see what happens with the starting rotation. See if it gets settled down or not. And I think that'll go a long way and tell you what's going to happen.
Pretty good battle between Presley and Kershaw right now. Well, Clint Hurdle certainly has been challenged with the injuries to the pitching staff and how to manage the staff.
You know, for a manager now, it's as much managing the DL as managing your players.
3-2 to Presley. To center field. Ether going back and now has to slam on the brakes. Makes the catch. 1 out. Aerial coverage provided by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. Great pictures from above the bird today. See the 3 sisters. And there is the dirigible.
It's a lot of mass for that little thing on the bottom where the people are.
Mercer will take a strike. It's 0-1.
There will be a great deal of interest in that entire trip, especially the first 4 games that you touched on with the Cincinnati Reds.
Expect to see a bunch of black and gold in the stands too in Cincinnati. Great American Ballpark. You think folks would make that trip?
Easy trip. Go over to Columbus and turn left.
Sounds easy. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Jordy, hitting .268 currently. 3 home runs on the season for Mercer. And you can run across the bridge as well. Hurry up. Get to the park. A little bit tardy, but that's okay. Mercer down on strikes. And I'll have to throw down on the drop third strike. So the Pirates gone in order for the 3rd time in the ballgame, 2nd inning in a row. 1-1 at PNC Park. Because they have been the best team in the game for the last month. Cincinnati also right now down 4-0. Pirates even with the Dodgers and a run apiece.
Yep. Don't assume you know the game. The Marlins are struggling. They have been struggling since day one, and they're giving the Cardinals all the Cardinals want, more than they want.
Here's Adrian Gonzalez, 0 for 2. Compton beginning the 6th inning of work, so certainly in a spot start. The man who is straight out of Compton,
not Compton, Compton,
is giving the Pirates what they had hoped for. This one toward the gap and a long way to go for Presley. He won't get it. It's going to fall in the notch, go over the wall for a ground rule double. Adrian Gonzalez with a double, his 13th of the season. Hit it to the deepest part of the yard.
And the phone will ring in the Pirate bullpen. Out over the plate, able to extend his arms and fortunately hit it to the 410 sign, because that would have been a home run in most parts of this ballpark,
including his home ballpark, Dodger Stadium. Might have been out.
He might have hit it to Compton, suburb of LA.
So the leadoff man is in scoring position. Gonzalez representing the go-ahead run. Hanley Ramirez batting cleanup today is 0 for 2. And hits one up the middle. And Gonzalez is going to be held at third base with nobody out. And the Dodgers with runners at the corners and threatening now to take the lead. Ramirez 1 for 3.
Compton has been terrific, but now the third time around, the Dodgers getting their third look at him, and in this third time around, 3 of the 4 batters he's faced have knocked out base hits. Racer is going to buy some time, and the leash getting shorter for this young man who has done a terrific job stepping in here and getting a start against Clayton Kershaw, who is getting stronger and stronger as the game goes on. You really can't afford to give much up now with the way the big left-handers dealing against the Pirates.
Brian Morris warming up for the Bucks.
Brian Morris has been terrific. 2.03 ERA for Brian. Lots of decisions, 3 wins, 2 losses. Well, you need some magic here if you're going to keep it at a 1-1 ball game.
Andre Ethier. He's at the corners, nobody out, takes outside, ball 1.
Compton was electric at the beginning of the ball game. First 2 innings, 6 up, 6 down with 5 strikeouts. But now in danger of the Dodgers taking the lead, and he has missed twice, and the plot thickens. I think the Pirates would gladly give up a run for a double play, even though it might be enough for Kershaw. They would make that deal right now.
Gets a strike in on him. It's 2-1. Ethier went 1 for 3 in last night's series opener. He has hit safely in 5 straight games now after his 4th inning single. And now he's got a base hit, and the Dodgers have the lead. Ball gets past Presley, and that's going to allow the runners to move up a station. Ethier safe at second base, and should be an error on Alex Presley. A base hit for Ethier. He'll get a run batted in, his 18th, and then he'll go to second on the error by Presley.
And Clint Hurdle on the steps. When the dust settles out on the mound, that's going to be all for Compton.
Yep, here comes Clint to get him. So Brandon Compton goes 5+. And keeps the Pirates in the game. It's 2-1. Had a 1-0 lead for a while. And think about the first 2 innings as Clint will give him a positive message on his way back to the dugout. And Brandon Compton in his major league debut gets a nice hand from this very large crowd at PNC Park. 2-1 Dodgers, top of the 6th.
Pirates and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
2-1 Dodgers. 7 hits for Los Angeles. Brandon Compton was 5 plus 3 batters, struck out 5, and now Brian Morris will take over. Infield will play halfway. Dodgers with 2 men in scoring position, and the batter is Mark Ellis. Morris' first pitch is a strike.
Almost looking at the scorecard, Tim, that Brandon kind of ran out of adrenaline to a certain degree after the 3rd inning. He was just right on, spotless. He just kind of got away a little bit, but did a good job filling in a tough situation.
And now that his major league debut is over, he's probably thinking how quickly it went for him. That type of thing just goes fast, doesn't it?
Yep. It'll register after a while.
1-1 from Morris. And Ellis toward left center. McCutchen will track it down. Ramirez will score, and it's 3-1 Los Angeles. Charge that run to Compton. Sacrifice fly for Mark Ellis, his 18th run batted in. Ramirez scores easily on the tag up from 3rd. And all Compton can do is watch as another run gets added onto his total. So he's still responsible for Andre Ethier at second base. Pitch to Juan Uribe on the corner for a strike. Uribe today is 0 for 2. Popped out to Jordy Mercer in the 3rd inning and then grounded out to Neil Walker in the 5th. Morris tried for the same location and missed. Morris checks second, and the 1-1 coming. Uribe takes another one low, 2-1. Morris called back to the big leagues on the 28th of May, one day after he was optioned down. It was when Jose Contreras went on the disabled list. Contreras has since been released by the Pirates. Morris has been scored upon just once in his last 12 games. In fact, he had a string of 10 innings where he hadn't given up a hit.
Getting in that 203 earned run average coming into this appearance.
Morris wants Martin to go through another series of signs. 3 balls at 1 strike, 1 out, and 1 on for the Dodgers. Morris has walked Uribe.
This game in the 6th inning is turning the way of the Dodgers offensively, and Kershaw on the mound. Not heading the way we'd like it to be heading.
That's one thing about Kershaw. If he gets any kind of a lead, he has proven time and time again he's very good. So the Pirates will have to do something with the bats now as we get to the later innings of the ball game.
He's not gotten much offensive support. He's got 3 runs. That probably seems like a lot to him right now.
Shadows starting to creep onto the field here at PNC Park. Catcher A.J. Ellis, 2 on and 1 out, takes strike 1.
It's not much fun pitching this time of day because you're into your windup or your set position. You're coming out and You're getting that sun in your face.
And that shadow will just move closer and closer to the first baseline and onto the infield and eventually across the pitcher's mound. Popped him up. Walker heading out to shallow center. Walker still backpedaling, called off by McCutchen.
Long trip by Andrew, but he's got the better angle. He's got the speed to cover that ground. It's his ball to take away from Neal.
Walker does cover a lot of ground. I don't know if Walker gets credit for the amount of ground that he's able to cover.
It looks like a tee shot down the 15th fairway at Marion for the U.S. Open.
That's a great look.
An unusual shot that you won't see very often at a baseball game, but you got the DirecTV blimp up there. Those great shots.
Kershaw, sacrifice bunt and a walk. Ball 1 to Kershaw.
And you absolutely need to get this out and not let anything else happen in the top of the 6th. You've got to keep it somewhat intact just in case Kershaw stumbles a little bit. But this is the matchup you want. This is the out you need.
McCutchen, Sanchez, and Martin 3, 4, and 5 due up for the Pirates in the bottom of the 6th. Skip Schumacher, leadoff man in the on-deck circle for LA. Dodgers 10 games under 500, 28 and 38 in the basement of the National League West. Right now Morris searching for a strike against the pitcher Kershaw. Don Mattingly served a 1-game suspension last night. Back for today's game.
He come all the way back here.
And he missed a 4-pitch walk to Kershaw, and the bases are full of Dodgers. Ethier is at third base, Uribe at second, and now Kershaw, the pitcher's at first, and Skip Schumacher, who drove in the first Dodger run in the 5th inning with an RBI single, back up. Schumacher, the former Cardinal, he would play in the outfield or second base typically for St. Louis. Playing the outfield here today and left. And Morris catches the corner. Coming into the game today, Schumacher, a .298 career hitter with 2 home runs, 23 RBIs, and 90 career games against the Pirates. Played against them a lot while in the Central Division with St. Louis. 0-2.
Try to figure pitchers out. 4-pitch walk to his mound opponent, and now very quickly out in front of the leadoff man, position player. 0-2. You never know what's coming next.
Schumacher hits right-handers well. A .303 career batting average against righties. In fact, 22 of his 23 home runs career have come against right-handed pitchers. Chops this one to the right side. Walker's going to have to hurry. Shovels it over to Sanchez. And the Dodgers will leave him loaded, but they do get a couple of runs. And after 5.5, it's a 3-1 Dodger lead.
It was a special day here at PNC Park. His 7-year-old Connor Mihelic from Hampton Township, PA, plays Little League for the Hampton Red Sox, was a guest of Root Sports and the Pirates here at the ballpark at BP. He is battling brain and spine cancer, and Jeff Carsons and a lot of the guys gave him the grand tour yesterday. Jeff Carsons playing a little bit of catch with him. He got a tour of the clubhouse. He checked out the Shark Tank that is in the Pirates clubhouse. He got a couple Pirates hats and shirts. Andrew McCutchen gave him a baseball bat and some batting gloves, and he also got a separate bat autographed by the entire team. It is a very special day for him. He also met Steelers defensive lineman Brett Kiesel, of course, was tweeting yesterday with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and nice of the Pirates to host him and Root Sports to host him as well and make his day very, very special. He had a smile from the time he got here, and I'm sure until long after he left him.
Just creating an outstanding memory for the young man. Move to the 6th for the Pirates. 3-1 they trail. Kershaw to McCutchen. And that's a base hit. Andrew McCutchen's now hit in 7 straight games.
Looked for the fastball, jumped on it, and we got action.
Dutch's crew obviously happy with that. Watch the bat. Solid right through the ball. It's good hair action there, huh, Steve?
Yeah, I'm not familiar how to address too much hair issue.
You can ask Andrew for a loan. He's got some spare.
Yes, he does.
Gabby Sanchez, who has a base hit, he's 1 for 1. Sanchez represents the tying run now in a 3-1 ball game. 3 runs on 7 hits for the Dodgers, 1 run on 3 hits for the Pirates.
Kershaw has given up 5 home runs. Certainly not an alarming number in his first 14 starts. He has a shutout, a couple of complete games to his credit. Yep, complete games. One of those games, I don't know if it was a shutout or not, 132 pitches.
It's a lot of pitches.
It's a lot of pitcher.
Ball and 1 strike. You know, this is the 15th time this year the Pirates have faced a left-handed starter. They're even Steven in those games. 7-7 the record against lefties.
7-7.
Second fewest games among all National League teams facing a left-handed starter. Philly's only done it 12 times.
Number 22. Throwing the ball, well, in the neighborhood of number 32, Mr. Koufax.
And Kershaw has developed a relationship with Koufax. Comparisons to Sandy, and Koufax has worked with Kershaw in the past.
Pretty good mentor. He was a favorite of mine to watch. I had a chance to watch him and some of the other great ones around, the Carlton's receivers. Koufax, Drysdale was Dodger tradition, something else.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Nobody out. McCutchen at first. Gabby takes inside.
Now you got a big pitch coming up.
Russell Martin on deck. Kershaw getting the sign from A.J. Ellis. And now a payoff pitch to Gabby Sanchez. We'll get another. Oh, catcher's interference. That was the noise we heard. So A.J. Ellis made contact with the bat of Gabby Sanchez, and Sanchez is awarded first base.
No argument, no significant argument.
No.
There's a discussion going on.
That's one thing you might see once a season.
You had to see the bat hit the glove, and that's the call.
Well, 2 on and nobody out for Russell Martin. Tying runs aboard. Let's listen to the sound.
And learned something the other night that the only interference in a baseball game can be called on the catcher. Everything else is obstruction, as we learned in that rundown situation the other night.
And catcher's interference is also recorded as an error on the catcher. So the Dodgers now have an error. One to Russell Martin.
So the Pirates, nobody out, bottom of the 6th. They have action. You want right-handers up anytime against Kershaw, but you've got a good one up here now with an opportunity for the Pirates to get closer.
The other thing about Gabby Sanchez, he does not have an at-bat counted against him, so he's still 1 for 1 when you reach via catcher's interference, even though it's recorded as an error on the catcher, which would normally be an offer. It's no disadvantage to the hitter here.
The clock thickens.
Johnny baseball. Runners off first and second, 3-1. Martin fouls it off, count full. Well, you remember Mattingly with the Yankees. He was with the Yankees during some tough years in the 80s when the Yankees weren't what the Yankees have been. There was a guy who came to play hard every game. Terrific first baseman, really good hitter.
It is now showtime.
3-2 pitch. And Martin drills it to left field. Going back, Schumacher. He's still going back. This ball is caught. Took it away from Russell Martin. Highway robbery in left field. Skip Schumacher with a terrific catch.
And the big left field got Russell Martin. The big left field at PNC Park, as Schumacher was able to get back right in front of the 383 sign, make the catch, and save the souvenir that people were looking for.
Well, he steals the home run, and that would have been a huge one. That would have put the Pirates in front.
That close. That close.
Absolute robbery. Watch it from this angle.
Takes a look to see where he is. Gets back there. He has time to time his jump and brings the ball back. It was lost, then it was found.
Neil Walker batting right-handed.
When you hand that kind of a save to Clayton Kershaw. So close.
Comes the 1-0 pitch. One ball and 1 strike. Now Walker trying to get his average up from the right side. Came into the game 184 as a right-handed hitter, 274 as a left-handed hitter. 0 for 2 this afternoon.
Kershaw just collecting himself, and he had to be thinking that with 1 pitch delivered, he might be behind in the ball game. But the catcher's made, and you really have to settle yourself down after that kind of an emotional ride as a pitcher.
Skip Schumacher with the play of the game so far. Might be the play of the series. Bringing back a home run.
Certainly the play of the game.
Yep. Robbing Russell Martin of what would have been a 3-run shot. And Walker, fooled by the curveball, strikes out. Second time Neal's down on strikes today.
The whole inning has changed. 2 men on, nobody out. Almost a 3-run dinger. Now a strikeout, and Kershaw can escape again. Curveball right there. He's gotten outs when he's needed them in the first, third, and now in the 6th. But the Pirates still alive. But certainly a tough challenge for Pedro. His quality left-hander working against him. Up-in fastball to start the at-bat. Now that opens up the big breaking ball away from Pedro after he comes up and in with the heat. We'll see where Ellis sets up.
2 of Pedro's 14 home runs have come off of left-handers.
They want it away. No surprise there, and he paints the outside corner with the fastball. Up and in, and then the outside corner.
Well, Pedro puts the ball in the air 31.1% of the time. It's going out of the yard. Anytime he hits a ball in the air, over 31% of the time he hits a home run.
First 2 pitches delivered to Pedro.
And 2. Over his last 29 games, he has driven in 25 runs. He went 1 for 3 last night, had a ground rule double. Struck out twice. And today 0 for 2 with 1 strikeout. 2 on, 2 out. Kershaw's 1-2 pitch.
And now Kershaw over the 100 pitch count here just in the 6th inning. But as we said, he is a horse. He's a stud. There's no physical issues for him at this point. Reminds me of when excuse me, Marshall was pitching for the Giants. Herman Franks, the manager, would never ever take him out of a ball game against the Pirates. Goodness knows how many pitches he would throw in those games.
One, 2. Pedro rips it down the first base side. Bobbled by Gonzalez. Kershaw just gets there. And the Pirates will strand 2 men in the bottom of the 6th. We'll head to the 7th. Skip Schumacher with the catch of the game. To local Little Leagues, June 30th, when the Pirates take on the Brewers. If you have a great Little League story, team, or player you'd like us to pay tribute to that evening, submit your information by visiting rootsports.com and clicking Tribute to Little League under our For Fans Only section.
Are we eligible to send in stories, Little League stories?
We could probably just whisper it in the ear of somebody down on the truck. Yeah. Well, you have one?
Oh, yeah. I got Little League stories. A lot of Little League stories.
This guy's going to have one in a few years.
Oh, yeah. He's a power hitter.
Yeah. Yasiel Puig, right fielder, takes inside for a ball. Puig, 1 hit and 3 trips. Martin sets up on the outside corner. Brian Morris delivers. And Puig, a bounce to the left side. Pedro gets up. Hey, throws him out. Another stellar defensive play by Pedro Alvarez.
Yeah, Puig runs so well, even if the ball was hit sharply as it was, if Mercer had to field that ball, they were not going to get an out at first base. The nice pick and then the strong arm. It's the only combination that's going to get him out on that play.
Defensive shift for Adrian Gonzalez, left-handed hitting first baseman,
who hit it the opposite way last time up.
And he shows bunt. And Alvarez from shortstop position starting to charge. He's the only guy along with the pitcher Morris over there.
It's a courtesy charge. Courtesy charge.
You see how wide open that left side of the infield is. And this one pulled to the first baseman, Sanchez. He'll handle it himself, and there are 2 down quickly in the top of the 7th.
I could see him possibly bunting if he was a leadoff man. 3-1 lead, Kershaw dealing, but with 1 out, you take a shot at getting a quick point.
And I know fans, Steve, fans always wonder why guys don't bunt more often, regardless of where they are in the order and regardless of how many outs there are, and take a base hit. There's always the question from fans when they see that shift. But certain situations will warrant it, and certain batters just won't do it. Certain guys, managers don't expect to. The guys in the middle part of the order, like Gonzalez. Strike 1 to Ramirez. Saw Garrett Jones do it about 3 or 4 years ago in Arizona. And the shifts really started becoming more prominent. A.J. Hinch was the manager at the time of the Diamondbacks, and he was employing a lot of shifts, and they shifted on Jones, and Jones had a situation where there was nobody out, and he took his bunt base hit. He hasn't done it since, but he took his bunt base hit, and then the Diamondbacks didn't shift on him since. And Hanley Ramirez got that ball up in the face, it looks like.
What's next? Don Battingley was saying, what's next? Yeah, that's exactly, that face is saying that.
Well, his disabled list right now is almost as long as his entire roster.
And if that ball bounced up and hit him in the face, it doesn't take much to really cause not only pain but damage. Not much protection. Just didn't hit him in the face.
Well, got him in some other sensitive area.
Face is pretty sensitive.
Well, looks like everybody's all right. So Hanley Ramirez, no balls and 2 strikes. Now it's 1 ball.
All kind of things going on at home plate right now. Just all kind of things.
Ramirez hitting .286. 1 home run, 3 runs batted in. Batting with 2 outs and the base is empty in the top of the 7th. Strike 3 called, and Ramirez out on strikes. 1, 2, 3. Go the Dodgers in the top of the 7th. It's stretch time at PNC Park, middle of the 7th. 3-1, Dodgers in front. We're going to keep it here and let you enjoy the 7th inning stretch along with us.
Fans, it's time for the 7th inning stretch. We invite you now to stand, follow the bouncing Eaton Park Smiley Cookie, and join everyone watching at home on Root Sports as we sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game."
Occupational hazard.
Pirates batting in the bottom of the 7th inning. Brandon Inge and a pinch hitter. Looks like Travis Snyder. And then back to the top of the order, Alex Presley. Inge fouls it back. No balls and 2 strikes. Inge 0 for 2 today. He's flied to center and struck out. Kershaw up to 104 pitches.
Activity in the Dodger bullpen. They have a right-hander working.
Kershaw's 0-2. Chris Withrow, right-hander warming for the Dodgers. And Inge fooled by the off-speed pitch. He strikes out for the 2nd time.
Number 6 for the big left-hander. Brandon Lee, the closer for the Dodgers, has 13 saves. This guy doesn't need much saving. Anytime you got that downer curveball, a lot of speed off it. Great contrast in speed and direction.
Well, Kershaw does have 2 complete games, by the way. That's a rarity today. Visit to the mound. Rick Honeycutt, the pitching coach, will come out and visit with Clayton Kershaw. Kershaw making his 8th start against the Pirates. He's 2-1 against the Bucks. 1-0 this year. Won a game on the 6th of April at Dodger Stadium. Also 1-0 at PNC Park. His lone win here coming last August 15th. Pitched 8 innings in that one. Dodgers would win it 9-3. He has allowed 3 earned runs or fewer in all but 1 of his 14 outings this year. Strike 1 to Snyder, the pinch hitter.
He's looking right into the sun now. So discomfort factor.
Strike 2 delivered. So Snyder's gone up there taking 2 pretty good pitches from Kershaw. Finds himself in the hole 0-2, and now it's dealer's choice for Kershaw.
That's what the batter is looking at, that ball coming out of the sun into the shadow. It looks like it would be really, really difficult. It probably looks a little bit worse than it actually is. You're down there. It's not much fun, but it's not awful. It's more of a problem for the pitcher looking into the glare. So Kershaw is dealing.
Strikes out the first 2 men in the Pirates' 7th. MLB.com at bat is the #1 source for live baseball everywhere you go. Available for iPhone, iPad, Android, and BlackBerry 10. At bat delivers Pirates baseball with live audio, pitch tracking, stats, news, highlights, and more. Text at bat to 31826 or visit Pirates.com for details. Makes a good Father's Day gift, too. Presley trying to bunt his way aboard with 2 outs. There's strike 1.
There's no bad Father's Day gifts.
No. Remember to call your dads tomorrow. Justin Wilson getting loose for the Pirates. Ball 1 strike to Presley. He is 1 for 3. Doubled in the first inning and scored the lone Pirates run today. Pirates had a 1-0 lead until the 5th when the Dodgers tied it up. Dodgers have put 2 more up in the 6th, sending 8 men to the plate that inning. That's where we are at 3-1. Seven strikeouts for Kershaw now. Started out, he had 2 for a while. There was a point in the game where he had more walks than strikeouts, but he's starting to catch up with himself a little bit. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the Dodger left-hander, 2-time All-Star. Dodgers first-round pick, 7th overall in 2006. Strikes out Presley. And he strikes out the side. And the Pirates are done in the 7th. Move to the 8th. Kershaw and the Dodgers with a 3-1 advantage. Slowing it down today on the AGH cam. Beautiful overhead shots from the DirecTV blimp today. 3-1, Dodgers with the lead, top of the 8th inning. Travis Snyder remains in the game in right field. We're still batting the 9 spot, and batting in the 8th spot, replacing Brandon Inge, is left-hander Justin Wilson. 25th appearance for Wilson.
And how about this crowd today? 36,941. Better than yesterday. Better than last night. 36,878 last night. 36,941. Great turnout. Great scene.
Kershaw getting the pats to the back, the handshakes.
It's good news for the Pirates. Let's try somebody else.
Yep. Kershaw through 7, very good. Gave up just 1 run on 3 hits. Andre Ethier leads off, taking a strike from the left-hander Justin Wilson. Ethier has a pair of hits. He is the only Dodger with a multi-hit game today. RBI single in the 6th inning. 1-1 to Ethier.
Well, it opens the door for the Pirates. I don't know what's going to happen, but you want to keep them at 3 because, again, this Dodger team has been struggling. Kershaw, their stud, is going to be out of the game.
97 miles an hour from Justin Wilson.
Pirate bullpen called upon again. Morris, very good. 2 scoreless, and now Wilson needs to do his part.
He got him looking on the outside corner. Ethier down on strikes.
98 and 99 miles an hour on that one.
Well, aerial coverage today provided by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. Downtown Pittsburgh. Perfect June afternoon. Mark Ellis takes a strike.
Mr. Wilson getting to home plate in a hurry.
.98 on the gun. He's pumping it up there today. For 2 for Mark Ellis, 1 out of 6 in the series. And now Wilson gets ahead of him, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now, there was a time that you just didn't see a lot of really hard throwing lefties. You saw more soft tossing lefties. But Wilson a little bit different.
It used to be called stylish. Remember Chris Short for the Phillies. Styles, they called him.
100 miles an hour. Justin Wilson registering triple digits on the radar gun.
That's pretty stylish. That's pretty much a blur.
Somehow Ellis got a piece of that one. 99.
Yep.
Justin Wilson, a great college pitcher at Fresno State. Took him to a World Series, College World Series, and was the winning pitcher in the deciding game. Did not go, so it's ball 3, 3-2.
How would you grade Fresno State? Good baseball school?
Yeah, they've always been good. California schools are usually very, very good, very competitive. The weather has a lot to do with it. Talent, with population too, that they draw from. Draw the talent from. Two driven to center field, right at McCutchen. 98-mile-an-hour fastball turns into a fly ball out.
Pitt Tower.
Pitt, yep. Carnegie Mellon in the background.
There's a
That's the Cathedral of Learning in the middle. And Pittsburgh, good college town.
There's a great iconic photograph that was taken near the top of the cathedral down onto Forbes Field. See every once in a while.
It's in Life magazine.
Yep, Life magazine. Yep.
Nothing in 1-1 Uribe. Now it's 0-2. Uribe awaits the 0-2 pitch. That is low and in. 1-2. Dodgers leading 3-1. They're batting in the top half of the 8th inning. 99 again.
Not much off-speed stuff.
No, he's just coming with the heat.
Bring it.
He's just rearing back and throwing this afternoon. And the 2-2. Bounce to the right side. Sanchez tossed to Wilson covering. And he beats him. 3 up and 3 down. Justin Wilson retiring the Dodgers in order in the 8th. Miller time later in today's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Robbie Ince-Mikowski and Steve Blass, Tim Neverett with you. Beautiful PNC Park on the north shore of Pittsburgh. Dodgers ahead of the Pirates 3-1. Clayton Kershaw 7 innings, 8 strikeouts. Ethiers 2 for 4. He's driven in a run. Brandon Compton making his major league debut today, goes 5+. Gave up 3 earned runs, struck out 5. Russell Martin with an RBI and a stolen base today. Good use of a hook. He's dressed like a pirate, talking like a pirate.
Get the hook.
Here is a Dodger, Chris Withrow.
Just recalled from AAA, the one appearance. First round draft choice for the Dodgers 6 years ago. Comes in to try to protect a 2-run lead.
He finally made his major league debut this year. He'll face Jordy Mercer.
Well, as we play in the bottom of the 8th, Brandon Compton didn't get the win. He won't get the win. He's on the hook for the loss, but he did not let this ball game get away. The Pirates still just 2 ticks away. Well, you got to give him good marks, not let it slide.
One ball, 1 strike to Jordy Mercer. Compton will probably get a hold of that lineup card as a souvenir. First time he'd been written in as a major league starter.
Very patriotic looking lineup card.
And all that color and stuff means something. It's 1-1. Outside, 2 balls and a strike. Now, if the Pirates are going to get something done, they need to get it done now against the bullpen for the Dodgers. Kershaw was very tough. Well, he's got a changeup grip. And Mercer, a little flare that falls in for a base hit.
And you give up the broken bat for the base hit. The Pirates have action.
Bat ties a winner for Jordy Mercer. Now that'll bring the tying run to the plate and Andrew McCutchen. 7 innings for Kershaw, 5 for Compton. 114 pitches to 76. Starters comparison this afternoon.
I'll give Compton an A for all the circumstances surrounding his arrival and his efforts. Special day for him.
And he retired 9 of the first 10 he faced, walking only Kershaw, but struck out 5 of the first 6 men he faced in the big leagues. Only Andre Ethier in the 2nd inning put the bat on the ball in fair territory, flying out to left field. But other than that, he struck out Schumacher, Puig, Gonzalez, and Ramirez consecutively, and then got Mark Ellis to end the 2nd inning. 1-0 to McCutchen. 2 balls, no strikes.
The bat sliding advantage-wise to the side of Andrew. And he loves these kind of scenarios. Every hitter does. 2-0, thinking he's going to get a fastball from the pitcher who's trying to get back into the at-bat.
Bouncer past third.
And he did at 96 miles an hour, but it was downstairs. Good delivery, cost Andrew a bat.
McCutchen hasn't homered in a little while. It's been since the 25th of May at Milwaukee. Since his last home run. There's the main office right there.
The home office.
That's headquarters.
Don't jump. Yep.
Down the street from the ballpark. All right, the 2-1 to McCutchen. Andrew fouls it back. 2-2.
Tough to catch up. 97 miles an hour.
Withrow, a strong-armed right-hander from Odessa, Texas.
It's the bottom half of the ball. Evens the count. So the scales of justice now have gone back to even.
Gets away, and Mercer will head down to 2nd. Wild pitch charged to Withrow.
Tried the breaking ball, missed by a lot. Now Ellis wants to go out and make sure his pitcher is on the same page with their signs. Quick word. Out there saying we're using 2nd sign, 3rd sign, 1st sign. Catch a gap, Andrew. Let's drive in and run and watch you run the bases.
Full count to McCutchen. Here's the pitch. All down the first base side.
It's hard to wait too long with a guy throwing that hard. You have to start the swing early. You don't have much time. Oh, look at the bat give.
And the reaction it has in the forearm, too. Again, the 3-2. Nobody out. Mercer at second. Ball 4. Tying runs aboard. Nobody out in the 8th.
And once again, you have another situation with the possibility of one swing of the bat giving you the lead. Russell Martin almost had that happen, almost made that happen, but Schumacher made a nice play, a really fine play, bringing the ball back into the ballpark. It was heading over the fence. It had enough fuel to get there, but he had time to get back and make the play.
Yeah, we reached on catcher's interference in the 6th inning.
And there's a situation. He's looking for a fastball, but he got a real good fastball and was late, even though he was looking for it. And major league hitters can catch up with any kind of fastball if you're thinking fastball, guessing fastball, and you start the bat real early. I mean, it can happen, but if you're not totally committed, you can be behind and hit a lot of foul balls the other way. And if you start the bat that early looking for the fastball and don't get it, then you can look pretty silly. And hitting's not easy.
I think based on the fact that if you fail 3 times or 7 times out of 10, you're doing well.
Really well. Really, really well.
Ball 2 strikes to Gabby, who is hitting over 300 at PNC Park this year, 309. And 4 of his 5 home runs have come on the road. He's got just 1 home run here.
And you'd love to see that happen, but it doesn't have to be pretty. Just a little flare over somebody's head or dribble it down one of the baselines. Anything to keep the ball rolling here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Keep the ball rolling.
Strike 3.
Went away from the fastball, locked him up.
Sanchez disappointed and down on strikes. Withrow picks up his first punch out.
Right there, and that's a pitch. If you're looking for, that's hard to guess. You can't really guess that you're going to get a slider at the top of the strike zone. If you did have the wherewithal to guess for that, you could hit it a long way, but you got to protect against the fastball.
Russell Martin, he'll take a strike.
And if you like that last slider, well, you're going to throw another one. Russell has to be looking for the heat also. You can't adjust upwards. You got to look for the fastball and try to adjust downwards in terms of the speed.
Now it's 0-2 to Russ. Martin was robbed in the 6th inning as Skip Schumacher took what would have been a 3-run home run away from him here. That would have put the Pirates up 4-3 had that ball not been caught. Schumacher, very familiar with this ballpark from his days with St. Louis, was able to reach up over the top of the wall and make the catch.
And you probably couldn't see it with that replay, but the classic move by every pitcher that thinks he might have thrown a long ball, backing up toward home plate, trying to use the body language and the body movement to keep that ball in the yard. Kershaw, like everybody else, trying to help it. The Pirates have had excellent starts to innings. Obviously the first inning, and then somewhat in the 3rd, but in the 6th, the first 2 guys got on. Here in the 8th, first 2 guys got on. We haven't been able to get the big hit.
And that is the breaking ball, and Martin is struck out looking.
And again, going away from that really impressive fastball with these 2 strikeouts against Sanchez and Martin.
So
I'm going to turn Neil Walker around and go to the bullpen.
Don Mattingly comes out. He'll go to Paco Rodriguez, the left-hander. Got another good look at that curveball. And back-to-back hitters, the 4 and 5 hitters, both sat down on curveballs after the Pirates put 2 on with nobody out. Paco Rodriguez will get Neil Walker to bat right-handed. So Withrow leaves the ball game, and the Pirates down 3-1. Offer complimentary tickets to all current and former members of the U.S. Armed Forces and their families for the Thursday, July 4th game against the Phillies. Tickets are now available at the PNC Park ticket windows, or groups of 15 or more can fill out a request online. For more information, go to pirates.com/USA. Tickets are available on a first-come, first-served basis, so get yours today. 3-1 Dodgers, bottom of the 8th inning, 2 men out and 2 men on. And the new pitcher is the left-hander Paco Rodriguez.
Saw him last night. He faced 3 batters, struck 2 of them out. Overall numbers 23 and some change, 26 strikeouts. He is a K-man.
Walker 0 for 3. He struck out twice. 251 on the season. Breaks his bat and hits it foul just over the rain tarp.
We have lost some bats this inning. Mercer, base hit, broken bat. Andrew McCutchen, broken bat. Walker, broken bat.
Hanley Ramirez with the better part of the bat right there. One strike to Walker. Right-handed 184, left-handed 274, so 90-point difference, lefty to righty. Walker to left field. Schumacher won't get it. That's down for a hit. Mercer coming around third. He scores. A 2-out RBI single for Walker. It's a 3-2 ball game.
Pirates within 1. Neal drove in the Pirates' the third and last run last night off Rodriguez, and does a good job here. Must have been a new bat, huh?
The old bat didn't have any hits left in it. Walker acknowledging the dugout, and a 3-2 game now, 2 on, and Pedro Alvarez at the plate. Tying run is McCutchen at second. Pedro takes inside for a strike.
Pedro didn't think that ball had enough break to come in and pick up the inside corner, but Alan Porter did. Pedro, do that thing you do.
To the right side, Gonzalez. Toss to Rodriguez. And that does it, but the Pirates do pick up one. It's now a one-run ball game here in Pittsburgh. Ninth inning, and Nissan road ahead. Look ahead to tomorrow. Dodgers will send their big offseason acquisition, Zach Greinke, to the mound against Pirates' big rookie right-hander Garrett Cole. We'll see what Cole has in store for an encore after he electrified the PNC Park crowd in his 6 1/3 innings pitched in his debut against the Giants. Coverage begins at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Greinke and Cole. That's our Nissan road ahead. Will Walker got turned around about right-handed. He responded with an RBI base hit off of Paco Rodriguez to draw the Pirates a run closer, 3-2. Now Tony Watson will take over on the mound.
Facing A.J. Ellis. Currently, Jerry Harrison Jr. in the on-deck circle. Of course, that can change. Dodgers will go to the bottom of the ninth with at least a one-run lead, and they'll turn it over to Brandon League, their closer.
Ellis takes high for a ball, 1-0. A.J. Ellis today 1 for 3. Single in the 5th inning. He's also scored a run. 1-0 to right field, and Snyder trying to get behind it. Here he comes. 1 out in the 9th. A.J. Ellis flies to Travis Snyder.
And it will be Harrison. Justin Wilson, a clean, squeaky clean inning. 3 up, 3 down with a strikeout. Watson trying to keep it within 1.
Watson will face Jerry Harrison Jr., 265 hitter. Harrison started in left field in last night's series opener. As a pinch hitter, 159 over his career. And this season is 0 for 8 as a pinch hitter. Takes a strike. Well, Steve, the Pirates trying to come back in this one. If they can, they'll win their 25th game, but their 24th home win of the season came last night. They have more home wins than any other team in Major League Baseball. Nothing at 2. There's some teams that might have better winning percentages based on the number of games they've had at home. For example, the Tigers are 21-8, 724 percentage. Pirates 667. But still 24 wins. It's about the number of wins. Here comes the 0-2. Broken bat roller to short. Mercer, long throw, gets him.
And when the Pirates face Brandon League in the bottom of the 9th inning, they should have an opportunity to put the ball in play. He's not a big strikeout guy. He's a big-time ground ball guy. So we'll see how that plays out. But maybe we won't see League.
It could be Kenley Jansen, too.
He has 3 saves. League has 13. And he is a strikeout guy.
They could put either one of those guys at the back end of the bullpen and have success. (1-0) on the way to Schumacher. And a bouncer to Mercer. And he's got a 1-2-3 for Tony Watson on the top of the 9th. Pirates down by a run. They'll have their last wraps when we come back to PNC Park.
Hoist the colors! The wind's on our side, boys! That's all we need!
Getting time to hoist the colors. Pirates need a run to extend the game, 2 to win it. Bottom of the 9th, down 3-2. Pirates this year, when trailing after 8 innings, they're 0-28, trying to change that trend. The last time they won a game when trailing after 8 was last July 27th at Houston. And 2-79 last year when trailing after 8, but a chance to turn that around this afternoon.
And they didn't get the ground ball guy. They got the flamethrower. 34 innings, 48 strikeouts for Kenley Jansen.
He has not allowed a base runner in his last 4 appearances and has limited opposing hitters to a .213 average this season. 173 against right-handers. They'll face Garrett Jones, a pinch hitter, batting in the 8th spot. Kenley Jansen. And Jones looks at strike 1. In 7 career games against Pittsburgh, Jansen has a 142 earned run average and is 2 for 2 in his save opportunities against the Pirates. Tossed a scoreless inning Wednesday night against the Diamondbacks and hasn't allowed a run in 11 2/3 innings. So no balls and 1 strike to Garrett Jones. Did he go? No. 1-1. After Wendelstedt said he didn't go. Five of Jones's 6 home runs this year have come in the 7th inning or later. That's 1-2. 93 on the gun. Jones, Snyder, and Presley due up against Kenley Jansen, nearly hitting 300 in the 7th inning or later. And the 1-2 from Jansen. Right there for a called 3rd strike. Jones looks at strike 3 in the bottom of the 9th, and there's 1 out.
Mid-90s in a good spot. Tough situation for Garrett. Give the nod. Good pitcher here. Downstairs, away from the power.
And now Jansen will face Travis Snyder. Snyder's 0 for 1. Struck out on the 7th. Pirates down to their final few swings this afternoon. Dodgers trying to split the first 2 games after the Pirates shut them out last night. If that's the case, there'll be a rubber game tomorrow. 1-1. Milwaukee has beaten Cincinnati. They have shut them out today. 6-0 in Cincinnati. Snyder fouls it back. In the meantime, they're in the top of the 8th inning in Miami, and the Cardinals adding on. They're leading the Marlins 12-7. Zach Greinke goes tomorrow. He's 3-1. He will oppose Garrett Cole, who will make it just his 2nd major league start. Should be a great atmosphere here tomorrow.
It will be.
On Father's Day. Two balls and 2 strikes to Travis Snyder. Blue cotton candy.
Nothing better.
Except the pink cotton candy.
Every dentist's favorite.
Two balls, 2 strikes, and Kenley Jansen delivers. And this one's hammered. Deep! It is gone! Tie ball game! Travis Snyder. A 1-out solo home run in the bottom of the 9th ties the game at 3. How do you like that?
And a monster home run. Andre Ethier just taking a quick look, and that ball was crushed. Think you used enough dynamite there, Butch? Let's start this thing all over again. A vapor trail over the ketchup bottle.
Well, the lunchbox hero hits it over the ketchup bottle, and it's now a 3-3 game. 1 man out, and you just centered this one up.
Jansen providing a lot of the power on the way in. Snyder says thank you very much. And just loses it.
3rd home run for Snyder.
Sweet stroke right there. That's just a sweet stroke. Delicious.
0-2 pitch to Presley. And this one is just fouled on the third base side.
Almost did what he did in the bottom of the first inning to start the Pirates offense for the afternoon. So Compton is off the hook. Kershaw does not get the win.
So no decisions for both Kershaw and Compton. This game will now belong to the bullpens. 3-3, one out, bottom of the ninth. And Presley takes low, 1-2.
You know, Alex should tidy this up right now with a back-to-back program.
He had a pinch hit home run against the Giants on Wednesday.
If he did that, that would knock the cork right out of the bottle.
1-2 pitch. A chopper to the right side. Gonzalez clubs it. 2 men out for the Pirates.
I think A.J. Ellis thought it was the third out. He's pointing up now, trying to cover his tracks.
Mark Melancon getting ready to throw as he warms up in the bullpen. Fan jam after the game with Blues Traveler. The Pirates are hoping that they don't have to wait too much longer. They can find a way to win it here. When the game is done, we're going to send you to Paul Alexander and Kent Tekulve, and they're going to break this one down. Now a brand new ball game at 3-3. Jordy Mercer. Foul tips it into the mid of A.J. Ellis for strike one. Mercer with a hit in the 8th inning. 1 for 2. A walk and a sacrifice bunt. They're up on the railing hoping something will happen. Mercer, ground ball stopped by Uribe, and he throws him out. And we've got some bonus baseball coming your way from the North Shore of Pittsburgh. 3-3 at the end of 9. Travis Snyder. He hits it high, deep, and out of here. A solo shot in the bottom of the 9th extends this ball game. Jerky all season long. Jack Link's beef jerky. Feed your wild side.
Stick around. We got some baseball for you.
3-3 as we go to the 10th.
There it is. That spanking new fountain. Been waiting for it. There it is. And it's looking good.
It works pretty well. Travis Snyder's why we're here in the 10th. Solo shot with 1 out. 3rd home run of the year. Really a no-doubter to deep right center.
You know, there's some big hitters that have laboring swings. He's got that butter smooth. He's got that nice tempo, nice rhythm. Smooth.
Mark Melanson pitching in the 10th. He'll face Puig, Gonzalez, and Ramirez, 2, 3, and 4 in the Dodger order. Snyder lost the ball in the stands, but somebody found it. And the guy in the blue checkered shirt's got it.
He's got a clipboard and everything working.
Yeah.
Maybe the other guy's got the clipboard working. He's signing autographs now. He got the home run ball.
Might be signing with an agent or something.
Saw Melanson last night work out of a jam. A couple of hits given up, but he put up the 0 and turned it over to Jason Grilli, who gave up a couple of hits, put up a 0.
4 and 2 in extras for the Pirates. 2 and 4 in extra innings for Don Mattingly's Dodgers. Puig in the air to right center, and McCutchen calling for it. 1 out. Puig with a hit today, but he's 1 for 5 now. If the Pirates can pull this one off today, they'll pull ahead of Cincinnati in the standings and move into second place by half a game over the Reds. The Reds have lost. St. Louis is winning in the 8th over Miami. And this one also to right center field. McCutchen makes the running catch. Quickly 2 out.
Nice jump as usual by Andrew. No problem. And down that line drive in right center field.
Well, Mark Melanson has 2 outs on just 3 pitches. Hanley Ramirez up. Ramirez a base hit and a run scored in the 6th inning. He struck out twice, reached on a fielder's choice. Two down on the Dodger 10th. Glad you're with us no matter where you're watching us here on Root Sports. Pirates and Dodgers game 2 of a 3-game weekend set. Extra innings today. Strike call to Ramirez. Fifth pitcher used by Clint Hurdle this afternoon, Mark Melanson. Brandon Compton made his major league debut, went 5+. And a little number back to Melanson. Underhand toss that takes care of the Dodgers. We'll head to the bottom of the 10th inning. McCutchen will lead off. Andrew McCutchen, followed by Sanchez and Martin. McCutchen leads off And you go back to May 14th, a little over a month ago, facing Mike Fiers in the 12th inning, drilled a 2-2 pitch out. McCutchen also led off that inning for his 4th career walk-off homer. I got the shaving cream pie as a memory from A.J. Burnett. Can he do it again here this afternoon?
Sure he can. Gonna have to try it off Peter Moylan, right-hander from down under, with somewhat of a down under delivery. His former Atlanta Brave, 7 years with the Bravos. Was called up recently, was down at AAA for the Dodgers. Right around the first of the month.
And he's probably particularly excited to know that the Dodgers and Diamondbacks will open next season in Sydney, Australia.
Yeah.
In his home country. So McCutchen facing Moylan. Breaking ball in for a strike. No balls, 1 strike to Kutch. McCutchen has walked twice. He is 1 for 2 today, singled in the 6th. Another breaking ball. That's off the plate. Well, he's got a little bit of zip on it. That a lot of movement too.
They are not playing Andrew to pull the ball. Ethier in center field, just a couple steps over to right. As you look at Don Madeline, you're wondering why that wasn't called a strike.
Ball just darted away from the bat. .301 on the season now. He's up over the 300 mark. And he chased one. Well, McCutchen chased that pitch that's got tons of movement that Moylan throws. And McCutchen down on strikes to start the bottom of the 10th.
The sidearm delivery, and this is just a bad decision by Andrew. He couldn't hit that one with a baseline. Way out in front. Looks like he made that early decision to take a swing at it. The wrong time at the wrong pitch.
Gabby Sanchez up. Might have been his best one to hit right there. 92 and down the middle. Sanchez with a base hit in the 3rd inning. He is 1 for 2. No balls, 2 strikes to Gabby.
And Moylan from the right side does what a lot of left-handers do. They'll just have that sweeping ball, either fastball or breaking ball, just running away from right-hand batters from all the way across the strike zone. The lefties do it to lefties, and he's doing it to the righties.
It's got to be tough for the right-handed hitters.
Well, yeah, they don't see this as much as the left-hand hitters see it from left-hand pitchers. Oh boy,
Moylan's got some ink on him.
Some Rembrandts there.
A lot of pitchers don't like to do that to their pitching arm.
Why would anybody want to do it to their arm?
It's outside, 2-2.
That is so hard to lay off that pitch. All the way across the strike zone, just missed, and sometimes you will get that call, because that spends a lot of time heading toward the strike zone in an umpire's eye.
Sanchez rips this one into the glove of Uribe, and he throws him out. Boy, what a play by Juan Uribe to retire Gabby Sanchez in the bottom of the 10th.
Uribe showing he can still pick it. Been around a while.
Uribe taking a hit away from Sanchez. The guy who had a hit taken away from him, a 4-base hit at the plate again, and Russell Martin. Schumacher robbed Martin in the 6th inning of what would have been a 3-run home run.
Starts him off with a sidearm floater. Kind of a frisbee delivery. When he throws that breaking ball just from the side, a lot of wrist, a lot of spin.
Ellis had set up outside, trying to get Martin to chase, and he wouldn't. One and one. Two balls and a strike. Martin without a hit this afternoon. Porter looking over the Dodger dugout. They're not happy in there. Martin down the right side. This ball is going to tail into foul ground. Two balls, two strikes to Russell Martin. Moreland set. The 2-2 pitch coming. Well, the count full, 3-2. Walker is on deck. Walker drove in a run in the 8th inning with a single to bring the Pirates to within 1 run at 3-2. And then there's Snyder's homer in the bottom of the 9th tied it. There's a payoff pitch to Martin. He walked him. Winning runs aboard with 2 outs in the 10th.
He'll have a chance to go up there left-handed. Did it as a right-hand batter to drive in that 2nd run.
Well, the first 3 batters Moreland faced, Sanchez, Martin, and McCutchen, all right-handed. Now Neal gets to look at it from a different angle, with the ball coming into him instead of away from him.
And the Dodger outfielders will give some ground to try to cut anything off. They'll give up an extra base hit, but they won't let it get behind and give Martin a chance to get all the way around.
Pitch to Walker, will wait to throw to first instead.
Yeah, they call it a no doubles defense, but it mostly is a no run, no winning run defense. You see the ground given up by all 3. Schumacher, Ethier, and Puig.
Popped up and out of play.
Neal would like to have that one back. Might have been in that good driving zone. Right there, inside that go zone.
Oh, 1. Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
That ball didn't miss by much. Dodgers might be thinking of the dugout. They'd like to have that one also.
Moreland looking in, getting the sign from A.J. Ellis. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Neal Walker. And he ropes it down the right field line. That's going to go to the corner. Russell Martin around second. He's heading for third. Nick Label will hold him there, and Walker is in with a double. Oh, the bad throw up the line. Ellis able to prevent it from going any further, but now the Pirates have the winning run 90 feet away.
Well, and Nick Leyva had to make his decision before that ball came in as a bad throw. And I was watching down in the corner what Puig was going to do with this ball, because if he has a lot of problems with it, they'll have a chance to send Martin. But here he goes. And there goes Russell. And Nick he has to make his decision at that point before that throw goes up the line.
He doesn't know that throw's going up the line, so
absolutely not.
He holds Martin there for Neil Walker, his 100th career double, his 7th of the year. And the Pirates in position to come back and win this ball game. Rick Honeycutt coming out to discuss Pedro Alvarez with Peter Moylan. Nobody up in the Dodger pen, so this is Moylan's.
And you got first base open, so what are they going to do against Pedro Alvarez?
Well, his run means nothing, so you'd think they'd put him on, wouldn't you?
That's what I'm thinking. Michael McHenry in the on-deck circle. Puig actually did a really good job of corralling that ball. That ball could have bounced one more time and the ball game is over.
So they will walk Pedro Alvarez to get to a pinch hitter, Michael McHenry. Alvarez will be intentionally walked to load the bases.
You're going to wind up with the bases loaded and 2 people out, and anything can stop this ball game and create the win for the Pirates. An error, wild pitch, balk, earthquake. I mean, all kind of possibilities.
And Michael McHenry, who has been watching this game from the bench all day today, will come up with an opportunity to win it. McHenry this year with the bases loaded is 0 for 2.
That is history. What a clean base hit for Michael. Just that feel-good base hit. Don't make it sloppy. Make it clean.
Pirates 0 for 23 this year when trailing after the 8th. They tied it in the 9th, and here in the 10th, they've got the bases loaded and 2 outs and a chance to walk off winners.
Yep. Scores tied 371 to 371. The totals. How about this crowd?
McHenry in the air to right field. Puig under it. And we're going to the 11th. Pirates leave them loaded. 3-3 after 10 full. Blues Traveler. They'll be taking the field when this one ends. John Popper, he knows the Z. He's the lead singer for Blues Traveler. They're playing tonight. Fan Jam.
They're down in the runway. The far entrance that or exit that they can take to get back in the clubhouse, but they're ready to come out on the field. Then Mazzaro coming on this 3-3 ball game. 3-7-1 for both teams. The Pirates have left 11 on, the Dodgers 7.
Mazzaro facing Andre Ethier. Delivers a strike to him. Ethier with a pair of hits today. Singled in the 4th, singled in the 6th, drove in a run with that base hit in the 6th. Cardinals have finished off Miami 13-7. That game final. Cubs beating the Mets 5-2. And a hook right there.
Downstairs. No 450-foot ground balls. Glenn Hurdle reaching deep into the bullpen.
Ethier to the gap in right center field, and the Dodgers in business in the 11th. Snyder takes it off the wall and into second base with a leadoff double as Ethier.
Mazzaro got out in front 1 and 2, but then Ethier got something to hit and he found the gap. Right there in the middle of the hitting zone, and he took advantage.
3-hit day for Ethier. This is the 11th double. Eighth hit for the Dodgers. Markel's second baseman, and pickoff attempt, and Mercer saving the low throw there. Ellis was showing bunt. Takes ball 1. Is that what you do here? Trying to get him to third with less than 2 outs and see if Uribe can get him in?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Anything to push that runner over to third base.
So Ellis will square, and he puts the bunt down in fair territory. Martin's got it. Walker covering first.
I would think that a high percentage of extra inning games are 1-run games, and the Dodgers are sitting on the front step.
Oh, Ethier at third, representing the go-ahead run, standing next to Tim Wallach, third base coach. And Uribe will do what he can to try to get Ethier in. Meantime, the Pirates will draw the infield in.
Yep. Uribe handles the bat well. You never know when the possibility of the squeeze of Alvarez is in, but you know, if you execute the squeeze properly, there's not much of a defense for it.
And typically when you see a squeeze, it's with 1 out.
Yep. All right, it's got Alvarez in. You got a right-hand pitcher looking over at the guy at third base. If he does break, you go up and in with a fastball or down and away with a curve. Try to keep it away from the bat. Try to knock the batter out of the batter's box.
And that's into left field, and the Dodgers have a 4-3 lead.
Good point.
Leadoff double, sacrifice bunt, base hit. And the lead is gone, or rather the tie is gone, and now the Dodgers with the lead.
And Uribe has had a very good day, both with the glove and now with the bat. You have to play the infield in, but It's the price you pay sometimes. I don't know if that ball is going to be caught if you're playing back. Kind of wide to third, big high hop. You might be able to corral it.
A.J. Ellis takes ball one. Dodger skipper likes it.
Yeah. First time I've seen him smile today.
The only other time was when Hanley Ramirez got hit with a foul ball at the plate. He had a little wry smile on.
Hanley wasn't smiling.
No. He did later. Nick Leyva made the decision to hold Russell Martin on that ball hit down in the corner by Neil Walker in the bottom of the 10th inning. Pirates ended up stranding the bases loaded, leaving them full. One ball and 2 strikes to A.J. Ellis. Uribe off of first. 4-3 Dodgers in the 11th. Mazzaro getting ready to deliver the 2-2 pitch. This one goes to the backstop. And Uribe, a big turnaround second. Wild pitch charge to Mazzaro. Now the forced play out of order on the infield with 1 out. This would be a double play candidate had Uribe stayed at first. And the pitch. He got him swinging. So 2 men out in the 11th. And, you know, again, it's a tough call for a third base coach to make, knowing the scouting report on Yasiel Puig, the right fielder, who has a rocket for an arm. This is his debut night at Dodger Stadium against the Padres. Getting a runner at first, and then this one all the way to third base against the Braves. He's got a rocket for an arm, and the throws have been accurate so far, but the one that he threw today was way up the line.
And he did a good job of corralling that ball in the corner, too. And one of the things that you have to work with as a third base coach is the quick release, because when they initially let the ball go, if it's quick enough, that sometimes will make your decision before you know exactly where the direction is. Getting the ball in toward the infield, that's a big thing in making a coach's decision whether to hold or run.
Strike called to Nick Punto, the pinch hitter. Punto is a switch hitter. He's batting left-handed. 1 for 9 as a pinch hitter this season.
There are times when you almost have to make your decision when the throw is released, and you're ready to pull the trigger one way or the other.
Two and 1 to Punto. Brandon League is ready in the Dodger pen.
There's the ground ball guy.
He will have a save opportunity. Pirates have 9, 1 and 2 due up. Snyder, Presley, and Mercer. Again, we go back to the 10th, and this is sort of the angle the third base coach sees. As that ball is in the corner. Now he's got to decide right here. The ball's out, and at that point you can't tell as a third base coach if that ball is up the line that far or not. But it's a tough spot to be in at third when you run into those situations.
I think he did the right thing.
This one's tailing away from McCutchen, and that's going to get into the notch. Another run comes in. Uribe scores. It's now 5-3 Los Angeles. Pinch hit double for Punto.
Perfect angle. Slicing away from Andrew. The left-hand batter. Ball just continually running away.
Double number 7 for number 7.
Well, the Pirate bullpen that had retired 13 in a row coming into the top of the 11th. Springs a leak and the Dodgers score 2. Wilson perfect, Watson perfect, Melanson perfect. And Morris's second inning perfect.
Ball into the camera wall on the far end of the Dodger dugout. 2 strikes to Schumacher.
7, 8, 9, and 10 retired in order out of the Pirate bullpen.
Pinto on the run on contact. 10 hits for the Dodgers. 5 runs to show for it. Seems like a long time ago Brandon Compton made his major league debut.
It was.
Actually close to 4 hours ago. Oh, 2 pitch. Inside. 1-2. Schumacher had an RBI single in the 5th. He waits at the plate with Punto at second base. And he strikes out. Dodgers put a 2 spot on the board. And now the Pirates will have their last wraps again. Beef jerky all season long. Jack Link's beef jerky. Feed your wild side. The kid's a little wild. A long one here today. The 11th inning. Bottom of it. And Snyder will lead off, and he is the reason for an extra innings anyway. The bottom of the 9th with 1 out. Snyder crushed this Kenley Jansen fastball. Ethier had given up on it in center field, and home run number 3 for Snyder. A solo shot tied the game at 3. And the closer for the Dodgers, Brandon League.
I think downstairs, this guy is known for his ability to throw ground balls.
He has 4 blown saves. 2-run advantage for the Dodgers. 2 runs on 3 hits against Vin Mazzaro, who's now on the hook.
And 13 saves with an ERA over 5 3/4.
Strike to Snyder. Pitcher of record for the Dodgers right now is Peter Moylan. Had the bases loaded against him in the 10th, but didn't give up a run. 1-2 to Travis Snyder. View straight down on home plate. 60 feet 6 inches between the mound and the plate. To the right side, Gonzalez gets it to League. Safe at first base is Snyder. A hit first dive, and he beat the throw from Adrian Gonzalez. And here comes Don Mattingly out to argue with first base umpire Mike Estabrook.
He was happy a moment ago. He's not happy right now. Chopper wide of first, and Gonzalez has to give a good feed to his pitcher. He does, but Myers get the call. Let's slow this down. Well, did he step beside the base?
It's pretty bang at first. League's right foot and Snyder's left hand.
There's a chance that he was just off the base.
Alex Presley to face League. Fastball for a strike.
Once again, the Pirates have gotten the leadoff man on base all afternoon. He's had trouble cashing him in.
Presley, a ground ball to second. Ellis flips to Ramirez, to Gonzalez. Safe at first is Presley, and there's one out. Snyder gets forced out. And Presley will reach on the fielder's choice.
Nope, they're still in business with the tying run at the plate. Sharply hit, and the speed of Presley prevents the double play.
The Pirates still with a pulse here, down 2, tying run at the plate. Jordy Mercer with 1 hit today. The Pirates have 2 players remaining on the bench. Clint Barmas, who is healthy, and starting Marte, who's not quite healthy. Let's see Marte. More than likely. Ball 1 strike. I think Jay Ellis with the block. Ellis came off the disabled list just yesterday to start the series. He had an oblique injury. As a result, the Dodgers designated catcher Ramon Hernandez for assignment. Mercer hitting .440 with runners on base this year, 11 for 25. And a bouncer toward the left side of the infield. That's going to make everybody safe.
Action.
Well, how about this?
Who do you want to hit in this situation? Who are you going to call?
Andrew McCutchen. Well, the tying run's aboard and the winning run coming to the plate.
Uribe making his best effort to corral that ball, but he can't get this one off the tip of the glove. I'm not sure what he's going to be able to do if he gets it in the glove, but that's a moot point.
A base hit for Mercer. 2 on, 1 out. Kutch at the plate.
And again, it's about ground balls against League most of the time.
Strike 1 on a foul ball.
Andrews trying to end this thing.
Yeah, 96 mile an hour fastball
with movement.
Three Dodgers, 1 out, bottom of the 11th inning. Pirates with 2 on. And the pitch coming from Brandon League. Ball 1.
You don't very often see the sinker ball guys that are ground ball guys throwing in the mid-90s. League does that kind of speed, and downstairs with the sinking action.
This gets away, and now the tying run is in scoring position after the wild pitch by League. Presley at third and Mercer at second.
And forget about the double play against the ground ball pitcher. Right through the wicket.
So the outfield playing a little deep. The infield is going to play back. 2-run lead for the Dodgers in the 11th. And McCutchen takes low. It's 3-1. League has pitched mostly in the American League with the Toronto Blue Jays and Seattle Mariners. Left the Mariners last year after 46 appearances there and made 28 for the Dodgers to end the season. 3-1 to McCutchen. And Kutch hits it down to third base. Uribe throws him out. Pirates down to their final out.
Nope. League got the ground ball he's looking for.
Now it's going to be up to Gabby Sanchez. Sanchez had a hit in the third inning. Robbed of a base hit by Uribe in the 10th. And ball one to Sanchez. One and all the count. League's 1-0 pitch to Gabby. Swung on and hit to left field. Tailing away from Schumacher. He's going to get under it and end the ball game. Well, the Pirates had the tying run aboard in the 11th. They fall in extra innings here. The series even at a game apiece. A 5-3 Dodger win. Pirates didn't quit, but just couldn't come up with the runs when necessary.
They certainly had their chances. A lot of base runners. They wind up with 13 left on base. The Dodgers get the last out and leave runners at second and third. They worked hard for this one. The Pirates did also, but the Dodgers win it.
Moreland gets the win. Mazzara the loss. League the save. Pirates now 40 and 28. The Dodgers 29 and 38. And they'll play the rubber game tomorrow afternoon. 5-3 the final in 11 innings. Let's go back to our Root Sports studios. Paul Alexander and Kent